Welcome to episode 149 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast. Again, carousel of co-host. That is, I just need to rename this podcast the carousel of co-host.
I mean, we've got someone from their house, so doesn't that count?
That is true. They are from the house.
And I'm a frequent guest.
She is.
Co-host.
That is true.
You could just put me on your roster and I'll just randomly start popping in.
Yeah.
That sounds like a threat. So Robert is not here again. He's feeling under the weather. So
You just
Rachel,
don't like it because we gang up on you.
I can mute both of you. I'm not really worried. But he's feeling under the weather. So we have Rachel today.
Yes. Right. Rachel
Rachel is filling in. You want to go ahead?
Sure. If you're looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a Herps Reptile show near you. Visit ellisreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
Yes. Racks, cages, hides,
And for sure,
signs.
check the website or message one of us personally because Facebook has taken down our business page and we have not gotten it back as of right now. Yeah, it's been gone for a hot minute.
This has been happening to several people that I know.
Yeah, we may have to make a whole new page. So just FYI, if you're searching for us, we're not going to show up right now.
Stupid Facebook. Oh, look, it's Chris Eaton. Shut up, Chris. So, our friend C Anal Side Exotics is
Well,
here.
thank you, Chris.
Well, but they're Canadian, and as South Park tells us, they're not a real country anyway. So, other sponsors. Let's give a shout. We talked about Herps. Let's give a shout out to Herps Reptile Shows. The next one is this weekend. If you are anywhere around Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, this weekend, January 14th and 15th, then January 21st, 22nd is Longview, Texas. Are you going to the Longview, Texas show?
Yes.
All right, so you can get your racks and cages in Longview, Texas. And then Conroe, the big Conroe show, January 28th and 29th in Conroe, Texas. Then down to Corpus Christi on the 25th and 26th. Then over to, this is a new one. There's a new show just announced today, replacing what used to be the New Orleans show. There were some issues with the location and the air conditioning, and it just wasn't going to be fixed. So the New Orleans show is no longer going to happen.
Yeah.
But you still have Slidell. I think Slidell's 3 times a year, right? Isn't it 3 times a year?
I don't know.
Isn't it Slidell?
I know there's a spring.
I think Slidell and
And a
Conroe were 3
summer.
times a year.
I think so.
And a winter. There's got to be a winter one.
Yeah, there's a December one.
It's normally like the last show of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So you still got the Slidell show, and that's a great show, and that location is awesome. But the new one is now located. Okay, they're gonna make me lie here. The new one is a Baton Rouge show, but it's not a Baton Rouge show. It's in Gonzales,
I think it's in good.
which is like 30 minutes outside of Baton Rouge. So anybody that's from that area that's ever been to, I'm not gonna say their name, the other reptile show that's been held in Gonzales, the lesser than, the not so great one that used to be held there, it's the same location, but this show will be a million times better than that show has ever been.
Yes.
There won't be an inflatable cobra out in front of it, but there will at least be like actual vendors there. No one's going to be selling you a rainbow vacuum or some pots and pans or knives. So come check out the Baton Rouge show on March 4th and 5th. Again, it's in Gonzales. Then Bryan College Station, March 11th and 12th. Waco, Texas, March 25th and 26th. And back over to Slidell. Again, if you're in the New Orleans area and you've been waiting, Slidell, April 1st and 2nd. So that is the Herps lineup. And then also check our friends out at I just ate dinner. It's not sitting well. Check our friends out at Wiregrass Exotics if you're anywhere in the southeast area of Alabama, around Florida, Georgia, that whole area. All right. We got that all? We're good?
I think so.
All right. Let's go ahead and bring, so we have 2 guests tonight. One is temporary. So I'll bring them both in and then I'll answer. Our guest tonight is Ryan Young of Molecular Reptile. And Ryan, we will get with you in just a second because I promised Travis, for some reason.
Because you love him.
I promised Travis a minute on here. So our buddy Travis Wyman. Oh, sorry, my bad. Dr. Travis Wyman.
Do you want me to smack him, Travis?
I won't stop.
I'm going to shank him in his sleep for you. It'll be okay.
So we wanted to have Travis come on. He wanted to come on and make an announcement and ask for help. So Travis, take it away.
All right. So I'm reaching out just to kind of the reptile community at large. If you listen to other podcasts, you'll probably hear me on there later this week and stuff too. But long story short, my wife is type 1 diabetic. And after, a lifetime of being type 1 diabetic, the disease kind of wrecks your kidneys. And she's hit the point where her kidneys are going to hit critical failure here. So she's on a transplant list. transplant lists as they stand just put you on the list for a deceased kidney. It can take between 4 to 8 years before you get to the top of that list. However, there are ways to kind of accelerate that, namely trying to find a live donor who is willing to donate a kidney that's compatible with you. So I'm just kind of reaching out to everybody. If this is something that you would be willing to do, registering to possibly see if you could pair with my wife, or through the program that we are involved in, they have a paired donation program where even if you're not a match necessarily to her, you might match to, Dave in Tennessee who matches with Mary in Montana, and Mary's donor would match to my wife, and they can create a chain that would go all the way around getting it, a kidney that could be tested and compatible for her. I am currently going through the registration for this process, so I can talk people through how to do it. I've spoke with Sean, and through the Herp Family Foundation, he's going to be putting the information out too. So if this is something that you would be willing to do, or if you just want to learn more, if you could reach out to me, you can find me on my Facebook page, Travis Wyman. Not the motocross.
I was waiting for the
not
the motocross line.
Definitely don't want to go asking him what to do to give up a kidney. You can email me asplundii @gmail. Message me here. I'm sure if you can't remember how to get a hold of me, if you message James or Katie, Sean, anybody can put you in touch with me. I'd love to talk to you, and just anybody and everybody that can get in. I'd like to try and stack the deck in my wife's favor, try and get her up on that list and get her a live kidney rather than a deceased kidney to, keep her around, because that's kind of an important thing for me.
Yes.
Yes.
And the herp community has always been great at coming together for each other, in times of disaster, in times of fire and things like that. So I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for your time. I know it sounds scary. There's a lot of inbuilt protections for donors and things. So if you've got questions, like I said, just please reach out to me. Let me know what questions you have. I can point you in directions, and I can answer questions for you.
Yeah, we'll meet you at a Hotel 6 with a bathtub full of ice and a knife. We'll take care of this. But no, the hobby has definitely been great. We've had a lot of friends that have been helped by this. So JT, when his place burned down, got a ton of help, and then our buddy Chris Duncan, when he had going through his cancer, they really helped him with the Herpes Family Foundation. So if anybody out there, if you know anybody, spread the word. We'll make a post on our page, especially once maybe Sean gets, we'll share that around too. But yes, if anybody can help, please reach out to Travis or us, and we'll reach out to Travis.
Yeah, my wife posted up on her page. It should be shared to my page. So if you want to just take the that message and share it out, that works too.
We'll do 100%.
All right.
So now Travis is off to go make a cake.
Yep. Now I got to go and
make a cake.
Kid's birthday cake.
Yeah,
he's making a space shuttle.
Oh, cool.
I've seen the beginnings of it, and that's great. I just want to eat it. I don't care. I just want to eat the cake.
You've never gotten to eat any of his baked goods.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Travis, you suck.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not my fault you didn't come up when your wife came up.
That's right.
I was gonna say, when can we come visit Travis?
I know.
Travis now lives in the mecca of, if you want to go visit anybody that does anything scientific with snakes.
Yes, and that's why I'm super excited and want to travel.
Warren Booth is up there now. Zach Lofan's in that area. You got Travis up there.
Morrill's up here.
Yeah, Ben.
So our families are gonna plan a vacation. We're just gonna go.
Just tour all the doctors.
Just gonna tour them all the doctors. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it sounds like an excellent family vacation.
Yeah. And then I get cake. So I'm all for it.
And homemade bread.
I say that as I just got, so speaking of diabetes, I'm type 2, right? 2. I never know the difference. I'm the one where I'm a fat ass. So yeah, I'm 2.
You weren't born with it. You're type
I wasn't.
2.
Maybe she's born with, maybe it's Maybelline. But no, I'm a fat ass and I got it later in life. But I went and got blood work yesterday, and it's gone down 2%.
It's gone down almost 3.5 points.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this going to the gym and working my ass off actually did something.
It is.
It sucks.
I'm proud of you.
Every minute of it. It sucks.
I was like, I'm proud of you. That's awesome because I know how hard my mom struggles with it, and I wanted to make sure I never got it, so I did the work beforehand.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
I know.
I miss cake. I've got a half a thing of a half gallon of ice cream in the freezer that I haven't touched in like 3 weeks because I was like, no,
Probably needs to be thrown out.
Probably.
no, I'm probably not gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Just throw it out, Katie.
Yep.
But anyways,
You're
so
going to go
Travis-
looking for it and it's going to be gone.
I'm gonna go eat it tonight then. Travis, go make your cake. Again, if anybody can help him out, please reach out and help out Travis. And we will talk to you later, man.
All right. You all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you
Hi,
very much.
Travis.
Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
All right. So, what did
Darren
trying-
Watson wanted to know if we went walking after the
I
podcast.
did go walking
and we did. And we're going to go again tonight.
I went to the gym before this podcast. I went and I did
did.
2.5 miles on the elliptical, and I did a whole circuit of machines, and my legs and arms are dead.
He has been the reason I have been going.
But I made a post earlier this week. I said, all those people that go to the gym, they're like, oh, it makes me feel great after I work out. Fuck them. I don't feel great after I work out. I just don't want to die. It's the only reason I'm doing it. Like, the alternative to not working out is dying. And I'm like, well, that and losing a foot. I realized I really don't want to lose a foot.
No.
I thought about how many things I do that require having 2 feet.
So my mom already battles with like minor neuropathy, and on occasions it gets bad, but it's all about the like shoes and socks she wears now more than anything. But she's also been a diabetic for quite a while.
Yeah, no, I just don't want to be in a hover round. I mean, I know I can get to the Grand Canyon. Those 2 old ladies in that hover round commercial got to the edge of the Grand Canyon, but I don't think I can go herping in the middle of the woods in a hover round.
Nope.
Get me one of those all-terrain wheelchairs with the treads.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't be so bad losing a foot.
Or you just dedicate this whole year and reward yourself at the beginning of next, spring next year and go on a really cool herping trip because you did such a good job.
Yeah, it still requires money. All right.
Yeah,
Let's get to our guest. How's it going, Ryan?
Pretty fair. Can't complain.
I've wanted to have you on for a while because just you hear about, if anybody that's listened to other podcasts, especially like Morelia Python Radio, you hear Ryan's name thrown around a lot because you work with a variety of very interesting snakes that not most people have success with. Like a lot of pythons and stuff. It's just, you always hear like someone's like, well, if I can't, this so can't breed it, I bet Ryan can.
No, well, that's flattering.
What are some of the things that you keep?
Well, it's pretty much mostly pythons. I do have a few turtles and a couple lizards, but it's
what kind of turtles?
Very much mostly pythons.
What kind of turtles?
I have some North American spotted turtles, a couple Vietnamese leaf turtles.
Oh, that's cool.
I got a couple radiated tortoises,
Ooh.
a few Chinese yellowhead box turtles, and I think, is that it? Oh, and a couple loggerhead musk turtles.
Those are funny little turtles. Big old heads.
Mm-hmm.
I just want Diamondback terrapin. I had someone reach out to us. I wanted to come on and talk about terrapins, but they can't do a live show. So we may do a recorded show and release it because I just want to talk to somebody about Diamondback terrapins because I've worked with them before when I worked at a zoo and they're such a cool turtle.
This little yellow-headed box turtle is adorable.
I didn't look it up.
That was the only one that he mentioned that I'm like, I don't know what that looks like. So I Googled it.
Yeah, cute. I don't. They're at my friend's house in Florida until the weather breaks and I can get them shipped up here.
Those are cool looking.
Love turtles. Box turtles are such an awesome. That's another one I wish that I understand the regulations for box turtles for American box turtles about not being able to like buy and sell them for the most part. But man, out of like all like turtles and tortoises, that would be like the best pet turtle for someone. If someone's like going to a show and they end up buying a $20 baby sulcata, it would have been so much better to talk them into a box turtle instead of a baby sulcata.
Our 44-year-old ornate box turtle is really cool. And she's fun to interact with. Like she comes out when we come in the room. She'll come out from under her log if she's under it, and she comes right up to the corner of the glass.
Katie's got one in her classroom that does.
She's awesome.
She had a whole pumpkin patch in there at one point, and then she ate it.
She ate it all.
Yeah, all the pumpkin seeds sprouted, growing all over the place, and then we came back in, and they were all
crazy. The kids were like, "Do we need to pull them out?" I'm like, "No, Mr. Lewis said just leave them, so we're just gonna leave them and see what happens." But once they hit a certain height, she ate them. And so now
Okay.
we've got 2 that are sprouting up and they haven't hit that height yet. So I'm wondering if maybe they taste weird before they hit a certain height or if she's just not interested
So you have a turtle that is now farming.
until pretty much.
That's dangerous. When animals start learning how to farm, we are in trouble.
Yeah, she's
That's
pretty
like-
fun though.
Retta attacks her food and eats it ASAP. Like that's every time.
Oh yeah, no, box turtles are.
Yeah.
They eat a ton.
She does eat a ton.
So what pythons do you have?
I
I know it's a long list of.
I got all 4 green python species. A few different types of carpets. Most of the Bothrocylus, or I guess all 3. I mean, most of the Antarisa, both Aspidites, a few Cymalia. Just, I mean, most pythons you can get. I probably have about half of them, I'd guess.
Because you just built an extra building to house stuff in, right?
There was a unfinished like roofed area lean-to on the side of my shop that has my main facility in it, and so I've been closing it in.
Yeah, see, that would be
So
awesome. Being able to spread.
That's what I've been doing.
Just being able to spread out.
Well, that
That's
one's
nice.
fun because you can set it up how you want. You don't have to move into a pre-existing. I've always thought like building your spot would be way cooler than having to move in and figure out how to fit things into a pre-existing spot. Especially 'cause you
Yeah,
can
I mean, it
put
would have been
plugs.
nice. I still was stuck with the footprint that was there, given the roof, but how I divided it up was up to me, I guess. So that was interesting. And then my other building, the concrete floor is not insulated, so I was able to insulate this one before they poured the slab. So that
That's
helps.
awesome.
That's good.
Yeah. Then I've always wanted to be able to do a building so I could put plugs like halfway up the wall. I never have
Oh
to
yeah,
bend
I put
over.
them like 6 foot off the ground.
Oh yeah, no, I want that.
And a million of them.
I never want to have to bend down to plug anything in.
Mm-mm.
Or have to
Yeah,
worry
no,
about
I
any
put
of that.
them. I put them like 6.5 feet off the ground, and every 2 to 4 feet.
Oh
There you
geez.
go. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and then you have your own own box for that whole room. So like wiring your own room would be cool just because you're not at the mercy of whatever was set up before you moved there and you're afraid you're gonna plug in one more and blow stuff.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
no,
constant
my-
battle.
The building has its own 200 amp feed, so I can
Nice.
add as much power as I want, pretty much.
Cool.
So what breeding wise, what do you have going this year?
I mean, I'd usually try most things every year, but doesn't always work out. So I think so far this year, different things have been breeding, but a little early to know how it's going to pan out yet.
I've only ever had, I know you said Antaresia. I've only ever had one. I had one children's python, and I've mentioned on here before, it hated me.
Yes, she did.
I got it because I was like, this would be cool looking snake.
She would like strike at the cage when he walked in the room.
I'm like,
hated him.
it's this awesome looking python in a small size. It's got a cool head. Fucking hated me from
She
day
wasn't
one.
like that around other people though. Like,
Yes, she was.
was she?
I took her to show her we had a big reptile day, and I ended up having to take her off the table because she just kept striking.
Oh, she never messed with me when I'd go in the room.
You know, Bandit does that to Robert because of the first time he backed away from him when he was downstairs. I have a Vietnamese Blue Beauty male, and he strikes at my husband every time, but he doesn't do it to me.
That's because Robert.
Showed fear.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm the snake handler, not him.
I mean, I'm not trying to get bit, but I mean, a lot of that snake is bluff.
Oh, he's full of shit.
Yeah, the children's python was not bluff though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cute when I first got her, and she could bite and she couldn't break the skin.
Mhm.
But when she hit about 3 foot, I was like, no, I don't feel like getting bit when I reach in there.
Yeah.
And so I sold that one.
Well, Pearl, the female Blue Beauty, she's my wild card. You never know if she's actually going to try to bite you or if she's just being full of shit.
So
It's kind of half and half.
So my dad had a question about the shop. He said you mentioned insulating the floors. Do you do radiant heating in the concrete?
I don't do that. My fear with that is that once the slab heats up, it'll take forever to cool off, so it will inhibit cycling abilities. So that's something I thought about, but I'm afraid that it would affect my ability to cycle them in the wintertime.
So what do you do? You run do like the water through it? I know it's going to do the like warm water or whatever through the floor, and that'll heat it. Or
I just use oil-filled heaters on.
got in the room.
Yeah, they're just controlled by Johnson's thermostats on the wall.
Haven't seen a Johnson's thermostat in forever.
I don't know what that is.
So used to like, so now everybody knows Herpstat and all that, but Johnson's was big, Helix was big, and what's the other one? There was another one back then.
Yeah, when I saw the Helix over there, I was like, I've never heard of that before.
Oh no, Helix used to be like before Herpstat and all. Helix was a big one. That model over there was sold tons.
Okay.
I guarantee tons of people have that model of Helix in their reptile room if they've kept snakes for more than 15.
Yeah, I used to
years.
have tons and tons of Helixes.
Yeah, that one got used a lot.
Like I have
Raincoat, that was the other one. The Raincoat.
Herpestat's the only thing I know.
Yeah, Herpstat.
Yeah, I would happily use a Herpstat or whatever, but they don't make one that can handle the 1500 watts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never had to worry about that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wattage.
Yeah.
That's just for the room. And
yeah.
It's on and off. You know?
That's true. I have a oil-filled heater in my tortoise barn, and I had to find a thermostat off of off of Amazon that would do 1500. I think it does like 16 or 17 was what it said it would do, but I needed to run my whole heater, and that was the tricky part, was trying to find. I did fry a thermostat once. Luckily it was a cheap one, but the first time I plugged it in on that radiator oil-filled heater, and it just fried right away. It could not handle it.
Yeah, you can turn them to 600 or 900 watts typically. Yeah. I think low is 600 and medium is 900.
Yeah, that's what I have. Amanda, our friend Amanda says they have Helix and Rankos. I haven't seen a Ranko either in forever. That's an old school thermostat. Let's try to look.
They're still around.
Are they? You see, it's Herpstats and what's the other? Vivarium Electronics. That's the other one that everybody does.
That's why I said VE earlier.
I
can't remember what it was actually called.
Unless you ask someone who's never known a thermostat, and they go, "Yeah, I've got a thermostat. It sticks to the side of my cage. It tells me the temperature." I'm like, that's not a thermostat. That's a thermometer.
Well, Johnson's and Rankos are used in the HVAC industry, and we just adapt them for our use.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that. Amanda already said my groom shop is 10 by 12 building with 13 outlets halfway up the walls, all on their own breaker. Pays to have a dad that's a master electrician. Yeah, that would come in handy.
Oh, my dad's a master electrician too, and I always said when I get my own reptile room, he's going to come in and do it all for me.
Really? Yeah, that's the one thing. I think I can do a lot in a house. Electricity is nothing I want to touch. I don't want to be anywhere. I want someone else to do all that. I still got.
Wiring's fun.
Wiring's not the problem. It's the burning afterwards that I'm afraid of. That's.
Well, it's pretty easy to do it right.
I feel like it's very easy for me to do it wrong, though, is what I'm really worried about.
I like your confidence that you have there, man.
I was about to say, you know what? At least you're not willing to just mess with it.
I've realized in years I can build anything out of PVC, so I feel good about plumbing, but I cannot. I'm not burning a house down.
I appreciate that.
The things I can do, I can plug stuff in. I can press that little reset button on there, and I can go to a breaker box and figure out which one needs to be flipped. That's about the extent. I used to wire my own heat tape whenever I had to do racks, and I don't do that anymore either. Like, that always worried me that I'm gonna screw that up, although it's not.
That's almost idiot proof.
Have you met some people that buy racks?
I have. If they leave it alone, it's idiot proof.
I'd be far more worried about that stuff than typical home wiring.
I guess because I have to do it all the time because our main business is building the racks. It's kind of a habit. I can just sit there and pile through them really quick now.
Well, see, it's so much easier. When I first got into it, I didn't have the quick clips thing, so I had to solder shit. You have to melt the plastic off of the copper part, then you have to solder the wire to it, and then wrap it up in electrical tape. And then I'm like, this doesn't seem safe. But now they got the little clips on it with the little plastic part that clips over it, and anybody can do that stuff now.
It's like we do punch the holes, put this thing in, and smash it, and then tape it.
Yeah, no, you used to have to solder it. I hated doing that.
That sounds like a pain.
It was. Someone said stupid sound doesn't work when I click on the watch live button. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know who Facebook user is. I'm sure it's someone we know because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what are some of the trickier species you think? Because you breed like some of the pythons, some of the people have issues or trouble breeding them. What are some of the trickier species you've worked with?
I mean, that's relatively subjective. I guess for me, I would consider trickier stuff. Probably took me longer to breed Timor pythons than anything I've bred before. Whether that's because they're tricky or they just needed more time to get older, I don't know. But most people, I guess, would consider like white lip pythons and Timor pythons more difficult. I mean, honestly, I didn't do a ton different with them. They just, if you stick with it long enough, it seems like you can get there.
Yeah.
I think most people just quit and don't put in the time. And so I don't know if I have any exceptional gift or if it's just
Stubbornness.
sheer determination to not
dedicated.
quit.
That's all it is.
It
Refusal to fail.
Pretty much.
or quit. Just refusing to quit.
Too stubborn.
I find it interesting, like with Timors and with Maclots and some of the other ones, that when I first got into the hobby 20 years ago, they weren't that big of a deal. Like I remember seeing, like, they were kind of the junk python when it came to pythons, and so they kind of disappeared a lot from the hobby. You didn't see them a lot, and now I've seen the price tags on some of those when they go for sale, and they are not junk pythons anymore.
No, I mean, that's what, everybody was breeding all the different species back in before the morph craze, and then once the morph craze happened, then all the stuff that was getting bred stopped getting bred, and then a generation of new herpers, it's all new to them when it's old news to old people.
It cracks me up. So Rachel hasn't been in the hobby that long.
Yeah, not
and so it always cracks me up when she sees something that I've known about for forever. I'm like, that's been in the hobby for forever. It's just you don't see everybody breeding it. So like everybody knows ball pythons, bearded dragons, this and that, but like the first time you saw the blue beauty, I'm like,
oh my gosh,
yeah, it's an Asian rat snake. That's why I don't do Asian rat snakes, because they're a little spastic.
Oh, and now I want all of them. So I'm moving more and more
found
towards
her
You try being attacked by 5-foot red-tailed green rat snakes that are imported, and then I don't want Asian rat snakes.
Bandit's like 9 feet long.
Yeah, Bandit doesn't try to eat my face.
No, not normally. He's done pretty well with you and I, and even my son and I. We can get him out with no problems.
But with the hobby, so these newer things, they're older new things are starting to come up. I think people are starting to not move away from morphs, but they're starting to go, okay, I've got all these morphs, but let me try something else and get this or that. So I like seeing that. I like seeing some of the stuff that people aren't used to showing back up again.
Like the Dumerals boas. When I first got into them, not hardly anybody have them, and I see a lot more people having them now.
Well, that's because Nerd decided they cost $900, and then everybody said $900 for Dumerals. I'm going to get into that. And then everybody bought them and was like, I'm gonna do that. And now they still are
That's not
insanely
why I want
expensive.
them. I
but
just absolutely love them.
oh no, I love
gorgeous.
them. I've got my Dumerals came from Travis Wyman, and I love that thing. It's one of my favorite. I think pattern wise, it's one of the best camouflage snakes on earth. When you put a Dumerals boa in leaf litter,
yeah,
it just disappears. Shy of like a solid green snake in a tree with leaves.
They're awesome.
But that was the Dumerals are an awesome one. They just that's another one that the price point caused them to become. That's like black Mexican black kings.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Right. The price point made them super popular.
So Ryan, why did you pick the snakes that you have? Because I know some of the stuff you have isn't more common in the hobby. Did you pick it just because you were interested in it, or?
Well, when I first, I mean, obviously, like most people, I was interested in stuff when I was little and keeping wild stuff. But once I was able to pick, what I could keep based on what I could buy, I guess, I was, I really was into green tree pythons was my main, well, still probably my favorite thing. But, and then I just, I got other things and got some carpets and different things. And, at a certain point, I guess I just decided that I wanted to, I was influenced by like Dave and Tracy Barker, Casey Lazick, people that. And I just was like, I want to breed, as many species as they have. And so
that's a tough thing to do.
Well, I did it. I passed it last year. So
oh, nice.
I got it done. But it's,
so have you done bloods?
Yep, I've bred 35 species of python.
Oh wow!
Wow.
So as far as I know, I've bred more species than anybody else.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I'm assuming you did the giant species in there because that's an easy one to get to. Retics, berms.
I've done one of the retics. I did berms. I did both those last year for the first time.
So that's a weird one to do for the first time when you've done all these other ones before. That's like that's normally where like a starting point for some people.
Yeah, I gave. I'm fairly decent friends with Tracy, and I talk to her every now and then. And I told her when I had the berms cooking, I told her, I'm going to tie you with these berm eggs, and I said it's pretty fitting that it'll be berm eggs, considering you probably did them like the first thing you did. She was laughing about that, but so we had a good laugh with that one.
To 35 species.
Yeah.
Just trying to rack my brain.
Yeah,
I think I could name close to 35, but I don't know if I could name.
I got nothing. Let's just be real.
Well, I've set my new goal at 50. So.
Oh damn!
Oh, nice.
You have to jump into a lot of colubrids, I think, to get there, right?
No, just pythons. I'm not counting anything else.
Oh wow!
Now I know I can't name 50 python species. I can't.
That's pretty much to get to 50. I would have to breed basically every species you possibly could get your hands on. So
okay, now this is going to be a dumb question, so I'm going to go ahead and preface it.
Go for it.
A ball python is ball python is ball python, right? Like you're not counting different types of ball pythons.
Species.
No.
Okay. That's why I wanted to clarify, because there are other people out there listening that are probably like,
You're like, oh, I've done 50 different morphs. Yeah, that doesn't count.
You're not the same.
No, that doesn't count. And if you breed one species to another, you don't get to count both of those.
You don't count as a new one?
No, well, you don't get to count that as breeding two things.
Nice.
Well, you don't. In my book, you don't get to count that as breeding anything, but that's me.
Sean Gray said, I'm going to need a lot of gloves. Yes, I would, Sean. I have no problem saying that I wear gloves so I don't get bit. I'm cool with that. Some of the shit that Ryan has big teeth. I would not want to get bit by those.
Yeah, I was separating a poplin python fight the other day, and that was
I saw the picture.
I got a nice kiss on the tummy from one of them while I was trying to get them apart.
Okay, my next question was going to be, how frequently do you get tagged by anything?
Oh, probably daily or every other day.
So I've been,
but it's mostly babies.
4 years,
okay.
and I've at this point not been tagged or bit yet.
You're also breeding ball pythons.
I have a lot of colubrids too.
Yeah, but he's breeding pythons that are like they bite.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I got
the worst bites I've had were ball pythons.
Really? I've never. I've got you can go handle that jungle carpet I got downstairs.
Oh yeah, not nice.
She's super friendly.
That's the one you pulled out the other day.
That was the one while I was cleaning the other one's cage. It just kept hitting the top nonstop. I kept
hearing it. I could hear it from the bedroom. I was like, because it's in the closet. I was like, what is happening? I thought it was the bigger boa.
No.
He's like, no, it's that little one.
Nonstop.
So I always think it's going to be my 1.5-year-old blue beauty or the Mexican black king snakes that are going to get me. It's going to be her or 2 out of the 4 Mexican black kings we have.
Oh, if I wanted to get bit, I have a whole list of snakes I know I could go grab right now. And it would,
those are really the only ones I can think of.
The 6-foot plus boas in my closet downstairs.
They both hate him.
They would go after me. That jungle carpet, that would take me.
I went to get a shirt out of my closet on my side of the closet away from their tanks, and the one on the top struck at the glass just because I walked in the closet
in there.
What the hell?
I don't handle my Brettles. If I handle my Brettles more, she'd be fine, but she kind of huffs and puffs. But she's usually pretty calm. That's why
I rarely get bit by adult snakes. I do my best to avoid that. But the baby ones, you take it for granted and just take your bite and move on.
Yeah.
No, man. Nope, I'll pass.
It just hasn't happened. It's not for lack of trying.
Hey, can you go clean my baby rainbow cages?
Baby rainbows.
The baby rainbows are super friendly. Because anybody listening, go check out. It's over on. I think it's on the Molecular Reptile page, right? The picture of the poplin.
Yeah, I put it on Instagram and both my Facebook pages, I believe.
It is rough. Like that fight. It took flesh. Like there's a.
They might both be dead. They were completely wrapped around each other in a big ball, and his face was like completely smashed open 90 degrees. He was dragging his jaw around for like an hour after I separated him. I wasn't sure if he was gonna bounce back or not.
Oh my gosh,
that's insane.
Well, and those are not small. How big are those? Are adults, right? How big are your adults?
They're at least 10 foot.
Yeah, those are a big snake.
Probably like about a Pepsi can around.
And there's such a their head, they're a python, but their head is weirder than any other python head.
Yeah, they're very distinct, and they're like pound for pound, they're by far the strongest python. You can't. I call them Velcro snakes because if you try to walk around with them, anything they touch, they just like hold on to, and you end up dragging your cart around and your snake hooks and everything. When you're trying to mess with them, they're interesting snakes. They're usually not terribly mean. There are some mean ones, but they're intimidating because they come at you kind of like to check you out, and so people get kind of intimidated by them. But mine don't typically bite me unless I'm trying to get them out and they think I'm trying to feed them or something. But once you're handling them, they're usually really mellow. But they're intense snakes. They're very inquisitive and very powerful.
Is anyone breeding them in the States right now? Like on getting on a regular basis? I know a lot of imports come in for those guys.
I don't know anybody. There used to be a gentleman who was breeding them fairly consistently, but I haven't heard from him in several years, so I'm assuming he's not anymore. I think there was a couple people that bred them last year. Yeah, there was at least, I think, 2 clutches that I'd heard about last year. But
I know that, yeah, most of the ones, I guess all the ones I've ever seen are imports, and I feel like that can be hit or miss because we had a friend that had some pop ones and hers unfortunately passed. She found out they were sick after she got them. How often do you get imports? I mean, obviously those had to be imports. You got them, so how you're dealing with species that aren't normally bred that often here. So how often are you dealing with imports?
Well, a lot of the stuff I'm interested in, the imports are, the only way you're going to get stuff usually. So I do acquire imports, I guess, I don't know, fairly regularly if it's something I'm trying to get.
What's your process with dealing with that? Because you always, people hear the word import and they automatically get scared, but I mean, there's definitely a way to handle it and it's fine. I mean, import is not a 4-letter word.
No, I mean, most of a lot of the times with the right care, they usually, I would say I got a pretty decent track record with them. I mean, you do lose stuff occasionally, but most of the time, if you take care of it right, most things will bounce back. Some of the scrubs are pretty difficult you're going to have to, get a few, so to speak, to have a few make it, but a lot of the other stuff does pretty good.
How many different types of scrubs do you have? I don't know them all. I know there are a handful of them, but
like 5, I think, 5 or 6, but not 5.
See, now that's a bite I don't want to take. Full-grown scrubs.
Yeah, no, though that's no, that is not a bite you want to take.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you're talking. I mean, how big is your biggest scrub right now?
I don't have any really big ones. They're probably like 9 feet.
Oh, okay. So that's not as big as I was thinking because I know that scrubs can get big. So my dad asked the thing. He said, "Stupid question, but if it's an import, is it safe to say they are wild caught?" Yeah. Unless it's Australia. If it's an Australian python, it should not be wild.
Yeah, those are a lot rarer to see wild ones.
Now, it may have come from a magic portal in Germany, but
is that where it exists?
There's a magic portal in Germany.
Gotcha.
And some other places where somehow things show up from Australia. It's just weird how that works.
Magically appears.
Like melanistic blue tongue skinks that somehow are here in the United States.
Gotcha.
But they weren't here before. Just magic portals. But I'm trying to wrap my mind of all the pythons. So Angolans, you had to have done Angolans, right?
Yep.
So that's an awesome thing. That's one I wish would catch on more. Forget ball pythons. Angolans are such a cooler snake. The only problem is everybody thinks of them as ball pythons when they're most definitely not.
Yeah, they're not.
No, they're extremely different from a ball python. I think their closest relative is the southern rock python.
That's what I heard.
They're not even. I mean, they're way bigger. They're kind of like a chuckwalla. They're flat. They feel like a beaded lizard.
Cool.
But
Oh wow.
they're really. I mean, they're an escarpment rock crevice living python. So they are really flat and have the beaded scales to inflate their bodies to hold into the cracks if something's trying to eat them.
It's that goofy ball python head they have that tricks everybody.
Yeah.
That's
very similar.
When you look at them up close, it's not.
But it's not like a carpet and it doesn't look as triangular as, say, like a rock or a berm head.
I don't know. Most in the genus Python have very similar heads. Nothing too crazy.
I mean, I can see why somebody might confuse the head, but it is different enough that.
If you really want to bother people, just call them bumpy ball pythons. It really.
No, I don't like people that don't call what things what they are. So
no, but they move a lot. They're longer. They're cooler.
They're really pretty.
And they come from an area where you cannot go. Well, you could go, but you'll probably die.
Yeah,
that's not. I know a friend of mine's been there and found them.
Really? I've just always heard like the war, like it can get dangerous in some of those parts.
I'm sure it can, but I mean, it doesn't mean you can't go there.
Well,
speaking of not being able to go,
what?
The trip you wanted in 2025 did not make it to the top 3.
To Costa Rica?
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll go to Costa Rica at some point.
Sorry.
2025? What's
Girl Scout?
Yeah, our daughter's Girl Scout troop, they plan very large, elaborate trips.
Stupid little girls are going to vote something boring.
And I mean, Australia is in the top 3.
I've been to Australia. That's the place to go.
But the one of the options was Costa Rica specifically for a conservation event, like activity, and that was not. There were 8 items on the list, and that was not one of the top 3.
I just want to go to Costa Rica and just wander off into the jungle and go find stuff.
But I don't know that you can do that without getting shot.
No, Costa Rica, yeah,
do that.
Yeah, Costa Rica is very safe.
Costa Rica's fine.
Okay.
I just got back from Thailand and Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Nice.
So
those places were not on the list. But
business trip or fun trip?
Fun trip.
That was fun.
All right. So what'd you find? You had to find some cool stuff there.
We didn't find much. We kind of got hosed. In Vietnam, it was pretty cold, so we got hosed. But in Thailand, we saw a few snakes on the road during the day but the people driving wouldn't stop for us. We saw a few mangrove snakes.
That'd be cool.
We were doing a river tubing thing. And then we saw a DOR cobra. We did road cruise some Asian elephants. That was pretty cool.
I think you posted a picture of that.
Yeah.
I saw that one. I had to stop. I was like, wait, why is there an elephant on the side of a road?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We were it was me and Nick Mutton and Chris Salemi.
Oh, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
They were in the back of the truck, and I was trying to communicate with the driver in the front of the truck. And we had seen an elephant, and then we saw the second one, and we stopped. And Chris was like, "Oh, that was real!" Like the first.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
But I think there's a lot of statues and stuff, so it's probably pretty easy to confuse it.
That would suck to be road cruising for snakes. You hop out because you see a snake, you're like, oh, look, a snake. And then all of a sudden, like 10 feet off to the right, there's an elephant. And you're just like, oh, shit. Now, which one am I more afraid of at this moment in time?
Yeah, I mean, the elephants pretty much just stood there. Luckily, they didn't, give us any trouble. I think they were probably more annoyed by our flashes and flashlights and cameras and stuff. But so unfortunately, we didn't see a ton of herping stuff, but we still had some fun adventures.
How much does Nick talk on a trip like that?
The funny thing is he's fun to travel with because he talks, but we sat next to each other on long airplane rides and hardly spoke to each other. It was really weird. I think I even commented about that on the flight home. I was like, we've hardly spoken for 10 hours. So
I imagine he could talk for 10 hours. Like all you would have had to do was ask him one question.
A good one. One good question.
And you could have got on for 10 hours right there. That'd have been 10 hours.
I mean, I don't know. We've known each other a long time, so there's probably not much that hasn't been said already. So,
where have you gone in Australia?
Well, I've basically everywhere but the center of the country. I've been up the entire East Coast to the Cape York, across the top end, to Darwin, and then I've been up the West Coast, up to the southern part of the Kimberley, around Broome. But I haven't been up the middle yet. I was supposed to do that in 2019, but then the world went to shit. So.
What happened?
Shit.
Yeah.
All the shit.
I want to find animals I keep in the wild. Like I guess I feel bad because I'm excited when we go herping and I find like a rat snake or something on the road or a cottonmouth. I'm like, that's cool. But I know it's not the same excitement I would see if like I went to Costa Rica and found a boa hanging on a branch. Like that would be so much cooler to me.
But that's because you don't see it all the time.
Oh, I know. Like, but I just imagine like he's got a room full of pythons, but you went to Australia and then you saw them in the wild. It's got to be a completely different experience.
Yeah, no, it's very, very influential. It's pretty wild. You got to be prepared for some heartbreak though, because unfortunately you'll see lots of dead ones on the road too.
Yeah.
So I've probably seen 50 shinglebacks run over and blue-tongued skinks and parrots, and it's so that takes a little getting used to, but just part of the game, I guess. But yeah, the catching pythons is pretty wild. So
do you find they're as bitey in the wild as like some of the ones that we have here, or is it just a complete, do they act different? I just wonder if they act completely different in the wild when you pick them up.
They're individuals just like ours. I'm trying to think if any of them have been really psycho. I can't think of we caught a gravid king horneye, and I never really let her have a chance to bite me. I held onto her head, so that snake probably would have lit you up pretty good. But we found another king horneye, and she whatever was never showed any aggression to bite. So I think they're just like most individuals. I've caught water python around on the East Coast, and it was pretty spry. It would try to get you, but the water python I caught outside of Darwin never tried to bite us. So I guess it just depends on the specimen.
That's one you don't see often is water pythons. I only ever hear about them when Owen talks about his water pythons.
I'm gonna have to look.
Water. It's like a gray snake.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a python. It's not. It's
brown snake
brown,
with brownish black snake with a orangey yellow belly.
Like orange.
Sounds like it's probably right up my alley.
Yeah, it's boring to me. It's not boring to everybody. It's not my cup of tea because I like pattern and color. But
this is cool looking.
It's pretty cool.
I knew you
Look
were gonna
at
say.
that.
I knew you were gonna say it.
God, you have such horrible taste.
I like pattern. It doesn't. It's not a pattern covered snake.
You've got good taste in women, and that's all I've got for you.
I mean, they're cool, but it's not a pattern covered snake for me.
See, and I don't like patterns are cool, but I'm all for solid colors.
I can either way. It just depends if I like it or not.
I don't know.
I should, as soon as you said you didn't like it, I should have known I was gonna like it.
Well, we're gonna have Owen on in a couple of weeks, and you can talk to him about his water pythons. But you have to pronounce it water.
I don't even know that I can.
It's how they say it up there, and every time I hear him or Eric say water, I'm like, God damn it, there's an A in that word.
That's hilarious.
Water pythons.
Man.
But no, he's that's the only time I ever hear anybody. I never see him at shows or anything. I'm assuming you've bred water pythons.
I've bred the eastern one, yeah.
So have you bred both phases of both white lips?
Yes.
I'm just going through a checklist. I'm like, what's they knock off the easy things like Woma, blackhead. Those are, you said you bred both liasis, so you got those. Is that one that drives you nuts when people think of them as the same kind of snake?
What, a Woma and a blackhead?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that neither one of them are like huge favorites of mine. I do like them, but I don't. They're not
blackheads.
Blackheads are cool.
I actually think the Womas are cooler.
Oh, really?
I mean, when I was younger, I thought blackheads were cooler, but I think that was more based on rarity, and I didn't have them. So, but once I started keeping both, I honestly think I'd take Womas over blackheads.
I was like, I don't have.
You like the
No, I'm a blackhead. Yeah,
but I like the way blackheads look.
The Womas always get me because everyone I've ever seen, every story I've read, they have a very good feed response.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know how true these are, but like I Googled, like there's some morphs in Womas that have them darker.
Well, I mean, some that's line breeding, you can breed to be darker.
The darker ones are cool.
Because like there's like the blackheads, you know, like that Swiss line blackhead that Jim Sargent has. Those are really, really light colored.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see some like really cheap blackheads that are.
I'm like this
Woma,
darker. The head is almost red on it.
Yeah.
So like that's a
Woma.
That's cool.
Yeah, Womas. I think Womas. They're really. You can get some really stunning orange ones that are really out of this world.
I just always there's that
Some of
picture that
my-
floated around of the woman that ate the snake hook, like
Some
hook
of-
first.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, llamas will eat their tub. They'll bite their tubs. They'll eat just about anything, I think.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, but like it didn't eat it handle first. It ate it hook first.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You seen that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, some of my favorite snakes are black and white snakes, though. So that's why the black-headed python does it.
Oh yeah, you'd like Western blackheads then.
oh yeah, those are
hmm
or the like you've seen Jim's. He has the
The exanthic.
the exanthic
blackheads.
ones.
That's what I want. I
Oh
want an
yes,
exanthic.
I have
See,
seen
and
those.
and that loses it for me because I like the color in a blackhead. I like the oranges.
I like both of them, so I don't
Yeah.
particularly
Yeah.
like one more than the other. They're just both cool to look at.
So Ryan, how often have you ever or have you ever had? Because you deal with species that kind of are notorious for sometimes eating each other. How have you ever had? I know you just had the pop ones kind of get into it, but have you ever had snakes eat each other?
I had a ring python female killed a male a couple years ago. I had caught her before he was dead, and I thought he was going to live, but 3 days later he was dead. And then last year I saved a pygmy python female. The male had constricted her and was swallowing her.
Oh,
And
geez.
when I found him, he had swallowed like 3 inches of her head, and I pulled her out of his mouth, and I thought she was dead. And I was like rubbing my thumb up and down on where her heart was, and blowing into her glottis with a pipette, and I thought she was dead. I left her in her tub, and when I came back out for lunch, she was back alive. So I don't know if I resuscitated her or what, but she still made it. So
That's crazy.
to take that as a win. But other than that, I haven't. Those are the
Those are
only
pretty.
ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
So do you just get rid of that concern in your head when you're dealing with them and breeding some of those for the first time? Like it could happen, but you're not paranoid about it.
No, I was probably a little lackadaisical with the Popwins. I had put them together before, and they hadn't. Like the first time I put them together, and they've never been together. Very concerned. They're very notorious for causing damage to each other or eating each other. So, I had that. Like I said, they'd been together before, so I was probably a little too blasé about it. But I did go check on them later, and sure enough, they were in the midst of a death battle. But
Gosh.
I'll say
he gets along. What was that?
The picture I saw was rough.
Yeah, no, he's got about a 4-inch really bad gash, and then a bunch of other like 1 to 2 inch gashes down his body. So he took a beating, but I put him in with his. He likes the other female, or she likes. He gets along with the other female a lot better, and I had him in with the other female a couple days ago, and he's been cuddling with her. So maybe she's making him feel better. I don't know.
So do you think they'll both survive though?
Yeah, I don't. They've both eaten a couple times since the incident, and
Oh,
they seem
okay.
to be.
That's
They
crazy.
seem
I don't know why I
fine.
thought this happened like yesterday.
No,
No,
but
I posted it the other day, but it happened
Oh, gotcha.
a few days before.
it's
I'm not
crazy
in those
how
groups,
it's
so.
crazy how much damage snakes can have and still survive.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
reptiles. I mean, for as fickle as we think they can be, and they can be, they are very hardy.
Well, you see some of the snakes in the wild, and they are all scarred up.
Oh yeah.
Most of the pythons I've caught in the wild look like they've lived through some things.
Especially, I'm just thinking in Australia, like that's just got everything. You got big lizards there that want to kill them. You got other snakes that want to kill them. You got
Oh yeah, we caught a blackhead on the west coast that it had more scars, and I mean it looked like it'd been hit by a car 3 or 4 times, just
Dang.
Jeez.
and he was still plugging along doing fine. So they have a remarkable ability to heal.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm always scared. Even I breed stuff that doesn't naturally eat us. Although I put Sambo in with a Sambo once. As soon as I closed the tub, I heard like WWE fighting in there. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? And I open it up and she's got a hold of them. I'm like, you don't eat snakes. What are you doing?
That's usually just a reactionary deal
Yeah.
from they get used to opening the cage, food's coming in, and so they associate you putting something in there with food. And then,
Well, especially like Sambos, if you run anything across the top of where their head is, they're striking for it.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's why I never reach into the tub because I know as soon as I do, I'm gonna get tagged by one of them. I take the hook. I'm like, all right, where's your head at? Figure out what we're doing, and then I can pick them most of the females up. I've got one or two that are like, yeah, I don't want to be touched. But
I was like, we only have 2 now, and they're both pretty good. The male sometimes, if you catch him really off guard, he'll fly at you.
my rosies are tricky. My rosy boas like to bite.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, oh, look at these cute little snakes. They're great pets for kids. I'm like, no, they're not. I mean, they're great, but man, they really like to bite, and they'll bite out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Wild caught rosy boas are tame, but the captive bred ones are nasty.
Man, it's crazy. Like I can sometimes pick them up, and I'm like, oh, good, she's doing great, and then out of nowhere, just now I'm gonna bite you. I'm like, just be mean from the get go, so I'm not tricked here.
She's got to throw you off. She doesn't want you to know what's happening.
Darren Watson, meanwhile, humans use the wrong toilet paper, and we're out of work for a week.
That's what Katie and I were laughing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we were both laughing at.
We when it comes to the animal kingdom, we're not that tough.
Oh God, no.
No.
Sam said, "Does it really suck to get bit by a worm?"
It doesn't feel great to get bit by
Anything.
Samboa. Although I haven't been bit by one in a long time outside of a baby, and the babies are fine. I got bit by one in college because Katie reached the wrong place, and I had to stop it, and it bit me, so it didn't bite her.
He's so good to me.
Yeah. I still have that snake too, and she still likes to bite every now and then.
Which one is that one?
It's just one of my Samboas.
Oh.
I've had her for forever. I did have I posted a couple of questions this week. Posted one we talked about, and I posted another one because I knew you had bred some stuff. And so I'll go with that one first. It says, if you could successfully breed any species, what would it be and why? So I want to go through a few of the answers, and then I want to get to your list of. I mean, you want to get to 50, so I know there's got to be a list of things that you want to breed to get to 50. You still got, I'm trying to do math. 15 more.
15.
Say 15.
So going there. This was the first one I saw. My buddy Chuck posted his first pick is a female human. That would be the one he wants to successfully breed.
No, you don't want to successfully breed one of those. You
Then
can't
you're stuck
undo.
with,
You can't put that back in the box.
There's a whole lot of shit attached with that one.
My dad commented, said successfully breeding leads to rugrats running around. I think I'd rather unsuccessfully breed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. You can't put the crumb grabbers back.
Max 6 said a T-Rex. So no, Max, go get eaten by a bear. Stop.
Yes.
Sean Gray said Tuataras. That would be that would just be a cool one to. I just want to see one. I want to hold a Tuatara. It's when I teach classification every year, and I teach reptiles. I teach the different orders of reptiles, and I have to show a picture of a Tuatara and go, "This is not a lizard." Like I know it looks like a lizard. It's not a lizard. And these things were around at the time of dinosaurs. They're freaking awesome, and you can only find them on one island, and there's 2 species left.
Jeez.
They're cool little. I was about to say lizard, but they're not lizards. Our buddy Jason Miloradovich says, a tough question. No matter what there is, probably always another one down the line. I'm limited on space now, but I would like to eventually keep and breed more island boa localities. That'd be cool. Always wanted bromeliad boas. I'm not gonna lie, bromeliad boas would be cool.
That'd be badass.
Yes,
Those are
they're itty bitty, and they're cool looking, and no one has them. And like, I looked into them once. The 1% 1 for sale, and it was insanely expensive, and like you had no promise that it was going to eat for you.
Oh wow.
Amazon basin emeralds. I do want an emerald. And
I've done that
Sanzinia.
one.
You've done the emeralds?
I've done the basins. I haven't done northerns.
How do you compare? I mean, I know, but I'll look at the same. How do you compare green trees to emeralds? What is is there a big difference?
That's a lousy comparison.
I know.
Green tree pythons are awesome and emeralds suck.
Oh, I disagree. See, I'm a boa person and not a python person.
So when you just said that you bred like a north, not the south, or the other way around, or whatever, are those
you bred a basin.
Are those 2 different species or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell the difference. I can tell you that much. I'm not good at telling the difference between the 2. I just
between
know
a basin and a northern.
I don't think I've never looked at the 2.
Oh, I don't know why. I totally thought they were like.
What?
It was just you were just talking about a locale. I don't know what either one of those are, but
you do know emerald tree boas.
Oh,
so you know what they
the
are.
green ones with the bulldog face.
So you have Emerald Tree Basin.
You have Amazon Basin emeralds, and then was it northern?
Yeah, Guyana Shield or northern emeralds.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever looked at the 2 side by side.
So there's 2 species of emerald boas.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
pretty different from each other.
Okay.
I just never looked at them. But in general, for most people, when they look at green trees or emeralds, they're like, it's a green snake on a stick, and so they don't see the difference. But like, I love the face of an emerald just because like I've never seen a scientific name that fits a snake more than basically naming it after a dog. It looks like a bulldog when you look at it.
Oh,
its
absolutely, it does. Yeah.
But if you're a python person,
it's named for the teeth, not as
Yeah.
much for the head. So
yeah. Well, so I've got rainbows, and so when I first got my rainbow, it was like my first thing I got almost 20 years ago. I never thought much about teeth, and then years later, as an adult, I finally saw him yawn, and I'm like, they have massive teeth because I'm used to like red tail. I thought it was like red tail teeth, which are a little are big, but they're not that big.
It's like I've never seen
But
one.
rainbow teeth are massive. I'm like, why the hell does this snake that looks like it lives on the ground have these giant ass teeth? But they're big. They're not like emerald. Like emeralds are always, you always see the picture online of like someone holding an emerald's head and the huge teeth. But yeah, I don't want to take a hit from an adult emerald or rainbow. I luckily have not.
I'll pass.
Miller Radovich also said Sanzinia, and I want Sanzinia so bad. Have you done those?
no, when you were talking earlier about snakes that you were talking about the Dumerils boas used to be everywhere. Believe it or not, when I first started doing this in the mid to late 90s, the Seattle Reptile Show, there was like every table had green Sanzini on it.
What the hell?
They were like dirt cheap. Everybody up there was breeding them. Nobody cared about it.
Okay, I officially hate this hobby.
Sounds like $20 Mexican black king snakes.
No, they're not. Mexican black king snakes are not as cool as Sanzinia.
I think they were like $200.
I officially hate this hobby. I hate this hobby.
I get a massive kick out of it every time I see people talking about Sanzinia because I'm like, nobody cared about those things. They were everywhere when I first started.
I freaking love those things. But I like the greens. I'm not a fan of what is the other one?
The mandarins.
Mandarin.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why the greens almost went away is because the greens were the original one everybody had. And then when the other ones were available, everybody switched to doing those, and then people switched to not doing either of them. But the Mandarin ones, everybody wanted those babies, so I think they switched from the greens to those, and now it's the opposite. The greens are the harder ones to get, apparently.
Well, I've heard in Europe it's different too. Europe, they have tons of greens and not tons of Sanzinia, or tons of Mandarin. So I was like, can we just get some trade going on between the two? I'd had I had two when I worked at a zoo. We had two of them, and I always found them being called tree boas kind of misleading because they were rarely in a tree. They would climb, but they didn't. It's not like an emerald or a green tree that will give you that normal like sitting on a branch look.
Yeah,
I never got that from them.
Yeah, I've never kept those, so I don't know much about them.
They're such a cool looking snake. I also find that whole process very weird of how when you think boas, you think South America, Central America, and then all of a sudden you get to this one island on the other side of Africa, between Africa and Australia, that has boas that looks just like what you would think boas look like. I mean, it's settled in this area that you would think it should be pythons on this island, and it's not. It's boas.
Well, I believe they discovered boas and python remains at a place I believe that's in Germany now.
Oh, really?
They were doing an archaeological dig, so they've Europe used to have both boas and pythons.
Oh, that's cool.
So those Madagascan boas have just been there for so long that they were there when it was all one land mass. They just didn't die out.
Oh, that's cool. Madagascar is just a weird island in general. I mean, you start looking at things there, it's a weird place. Speaking of Madagascar, our friend Amanda Reddy, who does chameleons, said their dream back in the day was Parsons chameleons. We talked to them when they were on the show before about doing Parsons, which are a cool chameleon just because they're the size of a chihuahua.
Oh my goodness.
Other Parsons are enormous. Look up a picture of a full-grown Parsons chameleon. And like if you're used to like seeing panthers and veiled, nothing. The Parsons are huge. But she said at the time no one was able to successfully hatch their eggs. It's a massive, long process, and we only had a wild-caught male at the time, so we never were able to breed them or hatch them. So they're hoping to do that sometime. That'd be cool. Our buddy Drew Schultz at the Learning Zoo, his answer is the one reptile I would give up every snake and everything I own just to have.
Oh my gosh.
What?
There.
Oh, did you look at it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they
Like
in
that's on
person it's
somebody's
bigger.
Arm,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But Drew Schultz said Chinese alligator.
I immediately thought of you when I saw that.
I just want a Chinese alligator. I don't even care if I breed it. I just want a Chinese alligator.
Those are cool.
I would give up everything. Darren Watson said those are the best looking chameleons. I mean, it's neat to see a massive chameleon like that. Randy said Jeff Lettuce Leets, I guess, tried to sell me a female green Zinnia 10 years ago for $600 and laughed. You probably should have bought that at $600. That'd have probably been a good deal. Our friend Tracy said Cayman lizards were at the top of her list to breed.
I want to breed tortoises. Like the redfoots, the cherry heads we have.
You got some time.
I know, I do. I'm just like,
yeah, we have time.
I think it would be really cool to breed like tortoises. Like
as long as it's not
sulcatas. Yeah.
Well, so between the two of us, we have 4 of them now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and with our luck, they'll all be boys.
I mean,
we'll have 4 boy redfoots.
I'm just gonna wait and see what happens.
There's going to be an entire herd of boy redfoots because that's what's happened with all of my. So I'm not complaining that all my sulcatas are males because I don't want babies. But the problem is males are assholes to other males, and so you just have to deal with them fighting every now and then.
Yeah.
But Richard Allen said ball python. No, you lose. You don't get to answer this question, Richard. Go away. Todd Sanders said Xenodermis, the dragon snake.
Yeah.
That's a cool looking snake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody successfully bred those, and people have a hard time keeping them alive, I think. Scott Schmidt said Apodora, so Papuan pythons. Don't let them.
I'd like to do that one.
Sarong barneck scrubs and Maruki scrub pythons.
Done one of those.
Which one? The barneck?
Maruki.
Oh, the Maruki.
Well, the southern.
See, that's one thing I don't. I know there are different scrubs, but I don't know the different scrubs. And we had
I have no idea.
Brandon was in the chat. If he's still there, and Brandon was in the chat earlier. Yeah, I know he has all.
And all the different
scrubs.
types of scrubs are. We're not talking morphs. We're talking
No.
different species. Okay.
Yeah. Aren't scrubs are what they used to call amethystines, right? That's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember growing up in books, you'd always see amethystine pythons, and it was because they were shiny and everybody loved the way they looked in the light.
Look, the extent of my knowledge is today in small groups, we were reading the book Who Would Win, Lion versus Tiger, and we talked about the scientific names of each of those cats. So that is the extent.
Panthera tigris and Panthera leo.
Yes, that is the extent of my knowledge of scientific names at this moment.
You're like,
that's it.
my brain's
that's
not
it.
working anymore.
That's it. That's all I got.
Do you know human?
In 2 weeks, I can probably tell you 2 other ones because they've got another Who Would Win book picked out for the next book.
What are the animals?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've got several in my class library, and they just said they like the way this is going, so they want to keep going.
I know the large cats because I use it when I teach taxonomy.
And I may or may not have cheated and looked to the last page to see which one win. Which one would win? Because I didn't actually know.
Did the book have lions hunting together, or one lion, one tiger?
One lion versus one tiger.
I'm going tiger.
And it's a Siberian tiger.
I'm going tiger. The lion
It
one?
was the
Was it a
lion.
male lion?
And it was because of the mane. That was
What?
why. The way that the book explained it, it has to do with the fact that the mane can protect their neck. So when the tiger went in for the bite, the kill bite on the neck, it wasn't able to get anything. And at that moment, that was when the lion was able to strike.
I'm calling BS.
Because
Yeah,
I totally picked tiger. I
I
totally picked tiger because I made all of the kids give me their prediction before we started. And I'm like, I'm totally going tiger on this one because it was the Siberian tiger. Like that's the one they
I'm
specified.
calling BS.
Yeah.
I'm saying fluffy hair
So
on your
we're
neck
only-
is not saving you from a Siberian
We're
tiger.
only about a third of the way through the book. And so far the way that they're awesome books, by the way, if you have kids that need help reading things,
Except
check
they
out
lie
the
for who would win in a
Who
fight.
would win.
I'd take a jaguar against either of them.
Jaguars are scary.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that. I was like, we had one at our zoo and it was the only cat I was genuinely afraid of at that zoo.
No,
Like if she ever got out,
she
you
was.
can say fuck everything I was supposed to do. I'm grabbing whoever is near me and we are locking ourselves in a building.
Jabba was scary, but it was later on in my career when I worked there. After I worked there, the female tiger for some reason hated me. So every time I
Yes,
walked
she
by,
did.
she'd try to kill me. I was like, "Ooh, no! I hope she never gets out. 'Cause she will 100% kill me.
Come find you.
She will seek me out."
There were books right there on the
Yeah,
table.
they're in the other room.
Oh man.
I'm still going with tiger. You know what? Screw
Moved
it.
them out of that room into
I'm going
this
to
room
cheat.
for a
I'm
reason.
going liger. Liger wins all of them because it's massive.
I had a kid bring that up today if they was going to mention that in the book. But each page you turn, all the information about the lion is on the left and all the information about the tiger is on the right. And it's basically comparing them as you go, like where they live. There's maps showing you, like it's a very cool book. I've never actually read one from start to finish.
Liger.
And now I've got like 6 of my 12 groups reading this one.
So get back to this question. Danielle said Solomon Island ground boas and Halmahera ground boas. She really likes the little boas, but there aren't enough captive bred babies. That's because of the reason it's the feeding.
Yeah.
Feeding those little bastards is a pain, especially getting them to eat rodents because that's not their
well, if there's
diet.
that small at that point, aren't they eating like lizards or
like
something else?
really, really small stuff. Well, they're lizards. They're not rodent eaters by nature.
Gotcha.
The Solomon Island ground boas and stuff like that is the ones that they import and then people get them and they're gravid and then all of a sudden they have like 40 babies and they're like, oh, what do I do with these 40 babies? And like, you're going to basically slowly watch them starve to death because they are itty bitty. There was someone who got one in, I think it had like 50 something babies on them.
What do they eat?
In the wild, like lizards,
Okay.
little tiny geckos and stuff. And you can try and get them to eat that in captivity, but it's, I mean, if you're talking 40 something babies that you have to feed lizards to in a hobby that lizards is not
Exactly.
a readily available feeder, it's kind of hard.
Okay.
Really cool though. I love viper boas. No one really does. Viper boas are expensive now. No one really does viper boas. Go through a couple more. Chadwick Osborne said diamond pythons. That's got to be on your list. You've done that one already, right? Diamond pythons.
I have not. No.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Nope.
That's one I like.
I figured diamond pythons would be on there.
No, I haven't. Carpets are not my main jam, so I haven't done them yet.
And you haven't done any of them, or some like you've done like jungles,
I've done what, 4 of them or something, 3 of them.
Oh yeah, see if I get. I'm assuming jungles,
Yeah, Cheney Eye. Yeah.
and then I'm gonna go with. I was gonna say IJs, but Papuan carpet pythons.
Yep.
And then are we splitting up coastals? How or where are we at?
Yeah, there's. I haven't done the southern coastal, but I've done inlands and breadlie, and 2 other carpets, 4.
How cold do you get your breadlie when you breed them? When you bred them?
I stuck them out in my garage in a box that kept them. I think they could get to 60. I think at night.
That's like I think Casey.
Where
Casey
do you
Cannon
live?
North Idaho.
Oh, okay.
I think Casey Cannon said once he put them in like a cooler or a boxer on his back porch in Georgia when he first bred them.
Yeah.
That scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, you could do that here.
That's the problem here.
I mean, it was like 80
and
degrees
this part of
today.
the South you could do that because you'd have one cold day and then it would be 90 the next day. And like,
Yeah.
No, you just
Yeah.
need a
Oh, yeah,
cooler that
no,
you can toss them in here.
Yeah, we got to almost 80 today, and the high tomorrow is like 64.
Oh yeah, I am having
Or
a
Thursday.
hell of a time keeping my doom rolls cool enough
Yeah.
right now.
Not tomorrow. Tomorrow is warm. Thursday it's like 64.
Our
Yeah,
highs
cold
are in the
front tomorrow
30s
night.
right now.
Texas can't make up its mind.
Oh, not
So
at
we've been
all.
having all seasons.
we did get
every
down.
day.
We did get
Hi,
down into the
Todd.
single digits like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Yeah, I was talking to Tracy and we were laughing because she was colder than I was. So
Gosh,
that was
it
always
sucked.
funny.
Lonnie on here says I would love to breed rubber boas. I plan on doing that. Not anytime soon. They got to grow up. But yes, that is on my.
Yours
my
are
list.
only a couple of years old now, huh?
Yeah, they grow really fucking slow.
How long? So I'm assuming it's by size. How long does it take them to get up to size?
It's probably gonna take mine like 7 years or so.
Oh wow!
Really?
Well, I mean, you've got to figure like for 4 months out of the year, they're inside a freezer.
Yeah.
Like I have to drop them down to like 40s.
Jesus.
They're
Yeah,
not
we
growing
catch
at that-
those up here.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he's in Idaho, that's
Oh
they,
wow!
That would be something you would love to see in the wild.
Oh my god, I love Travis has seen one.
I know.
Fuck Travis.
Oh,
Travis.
I've got pictures of herping with some friends where we found like 12 or 15 under one big board, and we're holding them in like
wow.
Medusa. It looks like you're holding Medusa's head. All these snakes.
Oh, that is
Were,
so cool.
were the ones in the area, were they that green color or are they the brown color?
They vary. You'll see different colored ones
Really?
all together.
I'm the whole reason I fell in love with them was that olive green one in the picture of Audubon Field Guide. And I was like, oh, I want to see one of those. And now I own 4 of them, and they're currently at 40 degrees in a wine chiller.
So what I'm hearing is at a specific time of the year, I need to take James for a weekend trip to Idaho.
Yes.
Just
It's a long weekend trip.
just to
Friday through
find
Monday.
a snake.
Oh, I'd love to find rubber boas in the wild. I don't understand why that snake is not more popular.
People like that really like people in the herping community. They fascinate me because I cannot think of a single reptile where I'm like or snake that like I have to find in the wild.
I've got a giant list.
I've got a list.
And
I mean,
be
Ryan's
honest,
seen most of his,
because
but
No,
When
I've
you-
got a lot of things to see.
when you took me to see the sea turtles in Corpus Christi,
oh yeah,
that was probably the most emotional I've ever.
yeah. I've
gotten
never
with
seen you
things.
get more. You got more excited than probably any other. Like equally to when we went to like go see Harry Potter last year.
Yes.
That was about how.
Yeah,
that was
like
about how
the
excited
moment I
we
walked
went to Universal.
into like Hogwarts and Diagon Alley for the first time, like that was me
When we
seeing
saw
the sea
sea
turtles
turtles.
up close. Like even now I can't even really form a good coherent sentence. Like it shocked me just how impressive that was.
I can't wait to go.
But seeing sea turtles hatch and watching them get to the ocean has been on my list. since I was
Rob is in the
high
chat. He said rubber boas look like a pile of poop. I know, Rob, and that's why I love them. I love my dirt snakes that stay buried all the time and you don't see them. They're
I didn't
amazing.
say that I was driving to Idaho. Like we can take a flight. There's bound to be an airport somewhere.
Yep.
Yes, Idaho has
Okay?
airports.
Yes, Sam. Hogwarts to see it would be amazing.
Well,
Pierce Plowman said Mangshan vipers and marine iguanas. I just want to see a marine iguana in the wild. I want to go to the Galapagos.
Yeah.
That's on my list. And then Scott Borden said Mullican scrubs and black roughneck monitors. That'd be cool. All right, so let's get Ryan. What do you want to breed? Successfully breed besides your
That you
Papuans,
haven't already.
besides your Papuans, and not have them kill each other.
I mean, we're talking like fantasy land here.
Yeah, anything you want to successfully breed.
Probably the Bismarck Island scrub pythons would be my top thing.
See, I don't know the scrubs. I know
It's a species. It was described a long time ago. It will be a species again, and they are pretty cool.
that would be neat. I think for me, it would probably either be some of the ones that are on here. It would probably either be Sanzinia, which simply means at that point I own Sanzinia. So that's kind of the positive there. Or same for the Chinese alligator. That would mean I have to own a Chinese alligator. So that's positive there. I hope to do rubber boas. I already have them. So I hope to do those. But I forgot to mention, Brad Callahan said red-tailed green rat snakes. I mentioned them earlier. I had a nightmare with those once. You have fun with those. You ever seen a red-tailed green rat snake?
Not in person, but I've seen a picture, yes. Because I was like, ooh, that's really pretty. I wonder what their temperament is.
You should see when they come at your face.
I mean,
Yeah, I was hoping to find one of those in Thailand, but we didn't
Yeah.
see one.
Okay, so scrub pythons have a wicked looking face.
Oh yeah. It's I mean,
You're
it's
gonna have a hard time finding a decent picture of a Bismarck scrub.
Yeah, no, I have had no luck with that at all.
No.
But I'm
There's
finding
very few.
several other different types of scrub pythons.
Yeah, there's very few decent pictures of.
They
that species.
they look like they could mess you up. I'm not gonna lie.
so Rob thinks because they look like poop, that's why rubber boas aren't more popular. I think there's a couple reasons why rubber boas aren't more popular. One, they grow so damn slow, so people just don't reproduce them enough because they're not a quick growing snake and they can't really turn a giant profit on them fast. And then in several of the states where they're found, you can't own them. Like I don't think in California you can have them. Can y'all have them? Can y'all own them in Idaho?
I can have 4 with a valid hunting license,
But you can't breed them.
You can breed them, but if you have babies, you have to give them away. You can't make money off of them.
oh wow.
Yeah, they're a super.
It's like your pine snake.
I don't know, but that ringed python is really pretty.
Are you looking at a ring python baby or a ring python adult?
Do they look different? I freaking hate when they do
100%
that.
different.
Well, so this one is
That's a baby.
a baby. I'm assuming
It's not going to look like that as adult.
I'm assuming that's what they look like as they get
That's a very pretty adult.
So they're just brown and black stripes.
Some of them darken up like really dark. It just depends. Do you? How many? You still have? You said you bred rings. Do you still have them?
Yeah.
Are yours lighter? Because I've seen some adult rings where like it's just they're dark the whole way down almost.
The ones that are the aberrant pattern ones tend to be more dark than the banded ones, but overall they're like really pretty as babies, and then for a couple of years they don't usually look that good, and then they start to lighten up again.
They're definitely one of those snakes that tricks people into buying them.
Yeah.
Well, they're amazing snakes even as adults. I don't know why that would
I
discourage
was like, they're
anybody.
just pretty.
It's just if you look at a baby, it's not going to look. I don't know. It's not. If you're
Yeah,
like,
no.
that's
If they look like they did as adults as they did as babies, then it would be the most popular python in the world for sure.
Yeah.
bright orange and black snake, super
Yeah.
easy to sell. But that's another thing. A lot of the you're in a lot of the python species in that part of the world have drastic changes from babies to adults. I've talked about this like people that breed carpet pythons, because carpet pythons are one of those ones that like you kind of have to hold back on babies for so long because they change so drastically from baby to adult. Whereas like when I breed sand boas, they're gonna whatever they look like when they're born. That's it. It's gonna look like that, just fatter and bigger. That's about it.
Like a sausage.
So how tricky is it for you? Are you at a point where you hold back stuff, or do you just breed for fun,
like
or
just what in general? What do we?
Yeah.
I mean,
do you have projects where you're trying to breed for a certain thing, or because a lot of your stuff are not morph projects, right? They're species projects.
yeah, no. I mean, for the different species, I keep if it's something I want to work with long term, I'll usually keep some babies. My chondros, I'm like a total hoarder. I don't sell shit. So I haven't sold a ton of chondros lately.
Chondros are a tricky one. That when they're born, that's not what they're going to look like as an adult. So you have to like, I couldn't imagine selling one, and then someone shows me a picture like 3 years later, and the thing looks like the sickness, or it's bright blue, or they're just like, it's amazing compared to what I had. And I'm like, what the hell? It was
Yeah, that's
yellow.
my problem with selling them. Is like if I sell one and you end up with a better looking one than me, I'm gonna be pissed.
It's like, I'm gonna be buying it back from you.
Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't. That would suck. See, but it's the opposite with like ball pythons. That's the best they're gonna look when they're born, and they're like the first like
Yeah.
a few months.
Most of them.
It's the best they're gonna look. Yeah, just so many of them just like dull out. It's like Katie wanted an exanthic one. She's all exanthic babies at a show once. I was like, look up an adult. I'm like,
I was so pissed.
like most adults are not black and white.
Nope.
That's what I wanted.
Get you a blackhead. Get you an exanthic blackhead
It's on my list.
if you can afford it.
I say I've seen that price tag.
Like it's a one day on my list item. Like one day I will have them.
It's a lot of snake though. Blackheads. They're a big snake. I think people underestimate how big blackheads get.
The Easterns get pretty good size. The Westerns are usually small.
Are they?
They're smaller.
Well, let's see. Bandit's probably the longest snake, but
he's a rat snake. He's thin.
Mama is my biggest
That's because she's a Dumerals.
because she's a dude.
She's an 8
like,
foot. She's an overfed before you, not you.
before me.
Before you,
She was
an overfed Dumerals.
Yeah. Now she looks perfect. She's heavy as hell still, and a lot.
I mean,
because she's bigger than all the rest of them. So most of my female Dumerals are landing about 6.5 feet, but she's almost 8 feet.
Yeah, she's almost 8 foot in like a 2-liter bottle.
She looks good now because she doesn't have back fat anymore. But she's definitely the heaviest and biggest out of everybody.
Yeah.
I've got a second Dumerals that's right on her tail though. The last Dumerals I got, the last big female.
How many Dumerals do you have now?
I have 8 now. I have 2.6.
Jesus Christ.
And only 2 of those females are not of breeding age or size. All the rest of them are of breeding age and size.
And start making some babies.
Well, I took my male out of my female when it got really cold. Just because they were right by the windows, and I was very concerned of what was going to happen in our house. So I have to toss them back in.
I need Dumerals.
Okay.
I got one. I need more.
Well, we're going to throw them back in.
All right. So let me jump to our other question real quick. This one was who has been your biggest influencer or mentor? This one, Ryan gave us the biggest influencer or mentor. We got several here. Jason Miloradovich says, I don't think I really ever had a person in particular who influenced me. I was never much for watching TV, and I'm too old for YouTube. I'm grateful for a local guy who managed a reptile store about an hour from me. And when I was in the teens and early 20s, he showed me how to probe snakes. After my first boa was missexed by an exotics vet, and I was trying to breed 2 males a few years later and double check some of my early litters for me to make sure I was doing it right. Yeah, it's always interesting. Exotic vets are not always reptile vets. That is not the same thing.
Nope.
Graham Battison said David Barker. That's a good one.
Hard to beat that one.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm gonna keep it that way.
Sean McCarthy said Marlon Perkins. He loved watching him as a kid on TV. So that's a good one. Todd Mills, Derek Roddy has helped me tremendously. I highly recommend checking out his animals if you're in the market for a black-headed python. Hey, we've talked about blackheads.
There we go.
Todd Schaefer said Tom Kyogan. Todd Autry said Marlon Perkins and Jim Fowler. Elizabeth K. Nash said Sky Pony. I don't know that one. But they're friends with Craig Trumbauer. So anyways, that first corn snake came from them. And then Will, I'm not going to mess up this person's last name, said probably Ben Rennick. Because he really introduced me into the hobby and had pleasure to work with him for many years and really showed him the ropes. I kind of wish I'd met Ben Rennick. I've heard a lot of great stuff about Ben Rennick. So there was a pet store. So my dad posted, he said, my mentor, and this is not true, was a reptologist that owned a pet store in Thomasville, Georgia. In reality, it was a racist middle-aged white woman who thought I was going to grow up to be a reptologist. That's what I was going to school for. She was an idiot. I worked there for about a week until I realized how racist they were. I was like, I can't work here anymore. I'm out. She kept referring to her husband used to work with the Browns. Oh, that was a family name. It was not a family name. Not a family name.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what I've also realized. There's a lot of pet stores owned by middle-aged racist white women. And I found most of them.
They're all in like Georgia, Alabama.
There was one in Louisiana. It shut down. There was one in our town.
There was that one in
Yeah.
I forgot about that one
Like
in Louisiana.
blonde, middle-aged white women. I don't know what it is, but
Like a crazy little yappy lap dog.
they own these crappy little pet stores.
Look at that.
What?
The little
yappy lap dogs.
It's snake food.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'm
That's
sure
what
Ryan's
Belle
got
is.
snakes that could take care of that.
I mean, you've got some that could eat Belle.
Oh, 100%. He tells Joe all the time he's going to feed the dog to something.
Yeah, feed it to one of the boas, and
She didn't quit shitting on the floor. She's getting fed to something.
There you go.
I mean,
Mama's big enough to eat her.
she could.
I know she could.
Our daughter has a like maybe 6.5 pound soaking wet Dachshund Chihuahua mix that will poop 3 times outside and come inside and within 45 seconds shit on the floor. And I have no clue where it's coming
just
from.
intestine.
I don't understand. Like I literally will watch her 3 different times outside.
That's River.
And then come
she's
inside and do it again.
like 8 of Belle.
Maybe, you know what? They're actually colubrids. They're not dogs.
Yes.
They're corn snakes. They eat once, shit 5 times.
I don't understand.
I swear every time River goes out, it's like 4 piles of shit. And River is a 48 pound dog. She's a border collie golden retriever mix. And I swear every time it's like 4 piles of shit. I'm like, where the hell do you put that?
I mean, at least like with blood pythons, I mean, they may pee 15 gallons of liquid, but it's all going to be at once.
Yeah, it's like popping a balloon.
Yeah.
That it does. I remember when we were at Tinley and why am I
I
bringing
have an answer for that question. Sorry.
What?
Sam's question.
I'm going to ignore my dad's questions at this point. I've seen his questions in the chat and we're going to ignore them. Matt Mantola had that blood that went to the bathroom in the hotel. And I was like, what the hell happened to this thing?
Yeah.
My God.
It was, like the smell hit you when you opened the door.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh, he had it in a bag inside of a styrofoam cooler and he opened it up. And because they hold on to stuff for a while.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
and when they go,
They go.
And it
That's why
went.
I don't own any.
And it was a full grown adult. Like it was a big female. It was lovely. I mean, luckily it wasn't my hotel room, so I was good.
Yeah. Did you finish going through the list?
I did.
Okay. So I would not even be in this hobby if it wasn't for you.
You're welcome.
So I guess you're my influence, man.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Although I still seem to take care of all your reptiles.
You
So I
do
don't,
such a great job too.
Yes, Sam, I will say you've been more behaved tonight than I've ever had you on here before. So
oh, my dad's is bored.
your dad's fantastic.
Oh man. Who was your biggest influencer mentor when you got into this?
I've had a few different in various stages. There was I should say, he was a young adult when I met him. I was a young teenager, and his name was Andrew Lembers. He worked at a local pet store. and I was just always in there killing time. And he was the first person I knew that actually like kept reptiles, like exotic reptiles, other than stuff that wasn't local. And so I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I was influenced by him to get into reptiles more. I had been doing fish and birds and stuff like that, and I'd had a few wild reptiles up to that point, but he was the first one that showed me like keeping exotic ones. And then Dave and Tracy were big mentors to me. Casey Lazick was very inspirational to me. I don't know. There's a lot of different people along the way. I got into field herping because of a friend of mine. Same thing. I was working at a pet store, calling this wholesaler in California all the time named Darby Cunningham, pestering him, bugging the shit out of him, I'm sure. And finally he was like, "You want to go herping? You should fly down to California. We'll go herping." And I was like, "What? People get on airplanes to go herping?" And so I was like, "Well, what the hell? I guess I'll give it a whirl." So he took me out. We caught rosy boas and California king snakes and gopher snakes. And so that really had an impact on me for field herping and traveling to field herp. So there's been a long list of people that have influenced me.
I think rosy boas in the wild would be a cool one to find.
I think that'd be cool.
Well, and they're just so like depending on where you find them, they're just so different. Like because I've got Mexican rosy boas, which were like nothing like anything you'd find like California and farther north and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I was like the one we had was an Limburg.
Limburg.
Yeah, and then we sold her because she was just a mean bitch.
They're mean.
Yeah, she was mean.
I've got babies left over that I've had for years from because my female for some reason she would only give like 2 babies at a time.
Oh.
Just every time it was just 2 babies. One would make it, one wouldn't. So I have like 2 babies from her from different years because they were the ones that survived. I don't know, weird female, but no, the babies are still mean too. They haven't calmed down yet either.
The wild ones are nice. The captive bred ones,
we screwed up. That's like I was. I just think we sometimes just get the wrong ones from the wild. That's like the Asian carp that you see on videos when people are driving their boats and they jump out of the water like crazy. I remember watching something once on invasive species, and they went to Asia where they're found. And they show the video to the people there, and they're like, "Yeah, ours don't do that." They're like, they don't jump out of the water. Like, great, we got the one group of stupid ass ones that got loose, and now all of ours jump out of the water. And in Asia, like, no, they don't jump. So we just put this problem is we picked the mean one out of the wild. We didn't get the nice ones, and so now we have mean rosy boas.
There you go.
That's why I like rubber boas, though. My rubber boas, I reach in, I'm never worried about them biting, not once.
I used to wear my rubber boa to school around my wrist like a bracelet, and it was so calm the people didn't even think it was real.
Really?
That's funny.
I got a Calibars. Just think of this Calibars eating on a regular basis. I'll be good. And then I got although it was supposed to be a female, and it is not a female.
Uh-oh.
It's definitely a male, but I would love to breed Calibars at some point.
That'd be cool.
I only know what that is because I brought it home for you.
I had to Google it when he told me we were getting one. I was like, I don't know what that is.
It's technically a boa and not a python, even though it's called a python. And it's, I mean, if someone wants to say that, like Rob said, the rubbers look like poop. If there's a snake that looks like poop, it's a Calibars.
Yeah.
The Calibars even sits in a pile like poop. But it's a cool snake. That's why I love this hobby. Like, I like stupid looking snakes that live underground. Ryan likes all the python species he works with, and then for some reason people out there like ball pythons.
You like that was the stupid one that we
stupid
surprised you with. It's got the stupid eyes, the Russian.
Oh, the Black Russian Sambo.
Yes.
Black Russian Sambos are cool.
So freaking cool. Stupidest looking face.
It's not stupid. It's
so dorky.
As soon as I can find Arabian Samboas, that's the stupidest looking.
That one has like googly eyes attached to their head.
It looks like a sock puppet.
I thought the Russians looked like.
No.
Arabians are worse.
Look up Arabian Sambos. It looks like a sock puppet.
Right.
It is ridiculous.
It's if Jim Henson was to make a snake for the Muppets, it's an Arabian Samboa.
He's not wrong.
And they're also a weird ass one because they lay eggs, so they're a weird ass egg laying boa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It looks fake. Like it doesn't even look like
they're
it's
very close.
yeah.
Yeah. No, they're
Yeah.
stupid looking. And I only know one person in the entire country that breeds them
These are way more stupid.
or has bred them at least.
That's hilarious.
As soon as I can get them, that's on my list of Samboas. No, but Black Russian Samboas are cool because they're all like the Brettles. It's like the Brettles python is really neat because it can live in really, really hot temps, and they can live in really, really cold temps. Whereas like some other pythons, they get cold, they'll get sick. So like a lot of my Samboas live in really hot temperatures. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Black Russians or the Russian Samboas can get up to 95 degrees and they can go down into the 40s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like you have to brumate them when it's time to breed them.
Mm-hmm.
So why like the rubber boas, I find the rubber boas, the rubber boas can get too hot. You don't want them. I don't even give them heat during the rest of the year. I just put them they're in a tub in a closet, not even on heat.
Okay.
But that's why I like the Brettles. The Brettles is a neat one, but I just couldn't breed it just because I can't imagine having to cool down what I would put them in. I'd have to have an actual refrigerator, like a full-on refrigerator for Brettles pythons.
Well, I think that's probably the easiest way to cool down just about anything in Texas is to have a refrigerator for cooling down.
Yeah. So
That's so foreign to me.
yeah, but we don't know what a winter is.
No,
We know.
really.
So we get winter weather. We
Yeah.
have that, but we also get like summer weather on the same day.
Yes.
So that's the only problem. It's because
I was chilly this morning, like not this morning, yesterday
Yesterday.
morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I might need a sweater today. And then by like recess, I'm like,
Well,
okay,
yeah.
I'm sweating. Let's go inside.
that's where I've said before, where I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to breed Brettles, but I don't think I could get them cold enough. And I'd have people go, well, just put them in your garage. They'll cook in the garage.
yeah.
Like
Yes.
it may be
Cook.
cold today, but it'll be way too hot in the garage tomorrow. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
That's like somebody told me I could cool my doom rolls down the garage. I'm like, yeah, probably not.
No.
No, I was like, they're gonna die if I do that.
So yeah, it's a tricky thing. That's why like you see people that have like colubrids. Colubrids are a little easier because you can put them like in a really air conditioned room,
Mhm.
or just turn the heat off and then turn the heat back, or they can fit in a fridge or a big wine cooler. But
Yeah.
some of the big, like I couldn't imagine doom rolls having to cool doom rolls down.
Yeah. No, it's been a struggle. I'm just gonna kind of hope for the best.
You'll be fine. They need a change. I think a lot of those need to change. So you've bred, like I said, you've bred quite a bit. Do you think your success really is stubbornness, or do you think you have figured out? I mean, you can't use the same method for everything, right? Or is it trial and error? Where are you at? with
I
stuff?
mean, I keep it all in the same room, so it's basically the same overall, the same temperature parameters. I can give like you can put stuff lower in the room if you think it needs to be colder, higher in the room if you think it needs to be warmer. I can manipulate basking temperatures, but overall, the ambient room temperatures, I do the same thing for all of them. I can food cycle some of them differently and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's pretty much a one regimen with slight subtle changes for different things, but it's
Like
most
you
of
will
it's the
succumb to
same.
my room.
I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was like with the Timors that took me 10 years. I raised them up from babies. But that might have been they just didn't want to do anything till they were 10 years old. I did try feeding them different. I fed them a little bit more than I normally would have the year I was successful. Whether that was the actual reason or whether they were just 10 years old and ready to go, I don't know. I was literally I thought the male had no interest in the female, so I was going to get a different one. But the day there was an adult male for sale on Fauna, and I literally was like, I'm going to go check on my Timors, and if that male's not breeding the female, I'm going to buy that snake. And I went out there and he was breeding her. I was like, oh my God, what the heck?
And imagine that could have reset you again for another 10 years. Who knows? You bringing in a whole other animal, having to get it
You
to
could
a
have.
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a lot of people's problem is, like you said earlier, they just don't have the patience. They get an animal, if they don't get a baby, if they get an adult in, okay, that's a huge shock to an adult moving from one place to another sometimes. And then if it doesn't breed within a year or two, they're like, I'm gonna get rid of it, when it may have taken 3, 4, 5 to get it ready to breed.
Yeah, the popwin pythons that I have, the female was raised by a guy over in Seattle. And when I first got them, she was breeding with my male really good and got huge follicles. But it was like summertime. It was like the middle of summer. and then she just reabsorbed. And then the next year, it was she got big follicles again. What I thought was the wrong time of year, and she didn't go again. And then this year, she's bred pretty good, got big follicles. So we'll see. Hopefully, she's getting dialed in, but
Fingers crossed.
never know.
So I think with some of these species that people don't breed a ton of, we just don't know enough about when they actually want to breed. I think a lot of times we're like, yeah, 3 or 4 years old. We kind of use that number on a lot of species, whereas with a lot of species, that's not always the case. 3 or 4 years old works great for something like ball pythons that we've bred constantly in captivity. At that point, I mean, I think ball pythons are almost as close to domesticated as you can get with snakes when it comes to breeding them. But some of these things, just like the rubber boas, my rubber boas will take a while. It's not going to be breed them in 3 years.
Yeah.
They grow slowly. They come from a place in the United States where they don't have very long, warm times of the year to grow. So it takes a while to get there.
Yep.
So with the Timors, who knows? Rob said he heard pumping the females with food is the key with Timors.
Well, I gave her more food than I normally did, and it worked. So that could have been it.
That's all you do is take her out for a meal.
I mean, and that
Wine them and dine them a little bit.
Wine them and dine them. They're like, oh, okay.
Like, oh, okay.
like the sexy candle. That's all you need.
Like the sexy candles.
That's the ticket. You got to get the Barry White going out there.
That's what he doesn't tell you. What he doesn't tell you is that in his room, a mirror ball drops down.
Yeah.
Disco ball.
Yeah. And he just plays Barry White and incense going.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
New secret.
But he hasn't told anybody. He's keeping that to himself so that he's going to corner the market.
I've told people I probably make a lame interview because I don't really have like some grandiose secret to tell people. It's pretty much just stick to it and try different things and subtle changes, and hopefully they come around.
I would say that's probably what the key to your success. Like I said, we're in a hobby where patience is not always a virtue for. It's not always what people have in this hobby. Like people move in and out of stuff, but you've stuck with a group of animals for a long time, and eventually success will happen. No, are you? Have you? I haven't heard, but are you going to get onto the Boland's path with everybody else and try to do Boland's?
At some point, I'd like to give them a try. Yeah,
when they're affordable.
I doubt they'll ever be affordable again.
That's the only problem with some of these species. I think some of these species price them out of being able to try and figure out if we can breed them easier.
Yeah.
Like Boland's that's an expensive snake. That's a $10,000 snake. So there's only a handful of people that are willing to get 2 of them and then try them. And I mean, that's what are Timors going for now, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, I think they're running a couple grand each, something like that.
I'm saying it's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's crazy when I think of the long term of snakes like that. Like they weren't, they weren't the popular snakes at one point, and now people want these other pythons that you don't see that often. I'm trying to think, what's the other one? Maybe it's not Maclots. What's the Savus? I remember seeing a Savu in like a mall pet store for like $100.
Yeah, I bought mine in when did I get them? It's probably like 1999, 2000. And I think I paid $75 or $100 each at the reptile show. Yeah,
actually, that was one of those snakes. I remember seeing it. It's just this little reddish brown snake, and it was curled up in the corner of this little cage. And I'm like, it's like a nondescript python. And it's a Savu python. I'm like, okay, but
yeah, mine pretty much stopped breeding when everybody started to care because they got old. So now they're just geriatric old snakes. But no, they haven't laid any eggs in a while. So.
How big do they get? Was it like 4 foot, 5 foot?
Yeah, mine's probably my old female's probably maybe 4.5, 5 foot, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I haven't measured her since she laid eggs a long time ago. So
it's like I said, those in Maclots. I just remember people didn't want Maclots either. That was a boring snake, especially in a time frame when you're thinking pythons. You had carpet pythons, like jungle carpets. Everybody's like, I want bright yellow and black snakes. Yeah. And so all the other snakes kind of went by the wayside because they weren't shiny and new and all.
Yeah, no, people, it's all cyclical. I'm sure eventually what is old is new again, and what's new will be old, and it's just
cycles through.
You never really know how it's going to go.
That's why I tell folks, if you're going to get into breeding, just breed what you like. Like, Get really good at breeding the thing you like, not going, what's big now? Let me breed that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If you're trying to chase trends, you're always going to be behind, and you're never really going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I think certain people, if you start breeding what you like, eventually your thing becomes a trend. Maybe not because it becomes a trend everywhere, but you will make good versions of whatever that thing is. And if you make the best of, even if it's, I'm trying to think of something boring, but if I could go with Sambos, like I understand why Sambos are boring for a non-Sambo person, but there are some people out there who on a regular basis breed amazing looking Samboas. You got to know who to go to, and that's the one thing they focus on. So you just got to find it. And it's tricky in this hobby because people just want to jump to find the new thing. And those people tend to not last too long in the hobby, though, because they find out they don't really like cleaning up snake shit, which is really the testament to how long you'll stay in the hobby. How long are you willing to clean snake shit?
Pretty much.
Oh, the picture of the cake.
He messaged all of us.
Travis has finished decorating.
He finished the decorating
rocket,
cake.
his spaceship
It's a
cake.
space shuttle.
awesome.
It's a NASA space shuttle.
The NASA space shuttle. That looks so cool.
But all right. Oh, I wanted to double check on our podcast page real quick. See if we had anything that got posted this week.
I have not.
I don't know, but
I did post one thing. So I posted something, and normally I don't post videos or things off of Facebook that are definitely negative for the hobby. But I posted this one because I wanted to point it out. It was a guy took his ball python to Walmart. And then he's walking up to people and then puts his hand out and scares them. Don't be that fucking guy. For multiple reasons. One, it's not good for the animal. Two, it's not good for the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever, ever, ever use animals, especially snakes, to scare people. Ever.
I agree.
That is without a doubt one of his biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Like I've taken snakes to school to do lessons, and other teachers and people will be like, "Oh, take that over to so and so's room and scare them." No, not fucking. That defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to normalize this thing around you, and using it to scare you is not going to do anything.
Well, that's like when I've had one of my Doomerals or my Blue Beauty with me at a show. If I'm walking up behind people and their backs are to me, I will say, "Hey, I've got a big snake. I'm walking behind you." Even though I know they're at a reptile show and they know they're going to run into him, I'm still not trying to startle anybody.
Well, and that's just it. At that point, it's not that you're scaring them; it's that you're startling them and catching them off guard. Because in their mind, there's not going to be someone walking around with that particular snake.
Yeah.
We trying to read the things my dad said. I'm just ignoring most of what he says.
Oh, well, no, he kind of made like a point. He said, Ryan seems like a pretty laid back, mellow guy. Is it possible that the fact that he doesn't stress all of the little things and kind of lets the snake do their own thing that leads to his success?
That could be it.
It could be, I guess.
I mean, I imagine you're not trying to change.
You got to pick up on the subtle things.
Yes.
Well, you're not probably trying to change things every breeding season, right? That's another thing. Is
I don't change, dude. I'm gonna tell you, I don't change nothing. I cycle October 1st to December 31st, and I have done it like that for 15 years.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's the trick. Because some people will have a year where it doesn't work, and they'll change shit, and they're like, "Oh, that didn't work. Let me change it again," and that didn't work. I'm like, well, yeah, your animal things keep changing for your animal too. I think sometimes people forget that it's a living creature, and that there's a thought process going on, and if they're not comfortable, they're not going to do it. What? Yeah, no, I'm ignoring my dad. Fuck off.
He cracks me up.
I'm glad he entertains somebody.
Yeah, no,
He does entertain
I'm
me.
very consistent with that stuff. So
We've had multiple people comment and tell us that your dad is the reason they hang out in the chat so much. So don't even be
Your dad
ugly
is
about him.
Hilarious.
Don't let him think he's funny.
But I can't help but crack up at it.
don't encourage him.
I mean, we all know I'm his favorite next to Josephine, so
There
it's
you go.
totally fine.
Well, he said earlier in the beginning, I'm better to look at than Robert. So
There you go.
That's a
He might
low bar.
He might like me better than Robert at least.
Setting it pretty low there.
I didn't say I thought much of
Oh,
myself.
My parents would happily take my wife over me. So no worries there.
Yeah, I think my favorite memory was when I was like 6 months pregnant with my daughter, and James is an only child. So I was pretty well liked when I came into the picture. And when I was 6 months pregnant, he told me, all right, you've got 3 months
I
left to
felt
be
like it
the
was
favorite.
very negative towards me, didn't you?
And
He's an only child,
Well-
and I was really like, for some,
They
wasn't
were
like my
like, damn,
family
somebody
fucking-
better than
it
James.
wasn't like they had me and they went, fuck this. We're only having this one kid because he sucks.
no, but he told me, he was like, you've got 3 months left to be the favorite, and then that little one takes over. And I was okay with that.
There you go.
Now, you were 3 months pregnant, like
No.
when we found out.
Well, yeah. So it was a very short pregnancy. but-
Yeah. I did post over in the group a piece of furniture that I want. Did you see them?
The stools.
They were tortoise stools.
Yeah, they're
I feel like we could make that
expensive.
pretty easy.
Are they expensive?
They're like the small ones, like $200.
That's not bad. It looks like a tortoise.
I'm not paying $200 for
Something that a dog's gonna tear up because I'll kill them.
Exactly.
But it's an ottoman
I mean, it's cool.
with a
Don't get-
tail and a head and the top is a shell. It looks like a tortoise.
I feel like we could make that.
I feel like we could. I also feel it probably would not look good.
I don't think it would be that hard at all, honestly.
I don't know. I do know that I am upset that our zoo does not have so I posted this video and apparently this hippo is famous. I didn't know it.
Which
The little baby hippo.
Fritz, the 5-month-old baby hippo at the Cincinnati Zoo.
Uh huh.
I posted a video of it just like,
He was throwing a tantrum, wasn't he?
yeah, we don't have anything entertaining here. We need to have a talk with our zoo and get some more entertaining tantrum throwing babies.
Yep.
I also want a hippo.
Didn't they have one like a couple years ago that was named Fiona that was really popular?
We have a
too?
baby.
Was that
I mean, we have that pygmy hippo.
We do have, you do call him a baby. It's not, it's a
I was
pygmy.
gonna call it a baby. It's not a baby. It's a.
You
pygmy
sound like little
hippo.
kids at the zoo. If it's small, it's a baby, and
I
if it's next to
mean-
another one, that's the mama.
Baby.
Used to always drive me nuts when like the male.
There was a baby giraffe not that long ago. We've got the baby elephants that are pretty entertaining, but you don't really care to sit and watch elephants.
No,
I could sit and watch the baby elephants play all day long.
they're not nearly as entertaining as this baby hippo here. They're just like opening its mouth and yelling at its mother. But I want a pygmy hippo. Can we make that happen? Can I get a? Is that something you can own as a pet?
No,
Probably
your
not.
wife says no.
You're less likely to die from a pygmy hippo than a
Your
regular
wife
hippo. I mean,
says
I get
no.
that hippos kill a lot of people, but I can't imagine pygmy hippos
Move
kill a lot
on,
of people.
James. Just let it go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get a zebu.
Let that one possibly.
Have you ever seen a zebu? You
No.
ever seen a Brahma bull?
Oh my God, they're like his.
I
Favorite
imagine a
hoof
miniature
stock.
version of a Brahma bull.
They are really cute.
They're freaking awesome.
If we had enough land, I'd totally let him have one.
Who needs a guard dog when you have a guard zebu?
I mean, that is a pretty good point.
Who's gonna break into your yard when there's basically a miniature Brahma bull that's willing to just ram right into him? The one at the zoo loves me, by the way. I was there. We were there like a week or two ago. And
It's in the petting
It
zoo,
is?
mind you.
what's your point? It has the choice not to come let me pet it,
Mhm.
and it came over to me and let me pet it.
Oh, even the zookeeper commented on how he never gets up to let people pet him.
Oh, wow, okay. I was like, I guess I need to
Jake's
come to the
ego
zoo
at
with
that
y'all so I
point
can see
grew
this.
like 50
Yeah.
sizes.
Since I can't have a Chinese alligator, I want a zebu. That seems like a fair trade-off. Go from Chinese alligator to zebu.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus, James.
I do want to say we are going to have a giveaway this month as soon as our giveaway person gives me a question to post. But we are Brittany Gobble. We had Brittany Gobble on last week, and she has a new blood python calendar. We have the ball python calendar from last year behind us on the wall, which is now out of date until we get our blood python calendar.
I was like, I need to get a calendar.
She has a new blood python calendar out, and she is going to give away a blood python calendar to one of our listeners.
Oh, awesome.
But you can't win because you're a co-host.
No, I'll buy one.
You can't win because you're a co-host, Rachel.
I said I'll buy one.
She's sending me one.
Oh, aren't you special?
I am special. I just want everybody to know that I'm special.
Somebody
It's
needs to
okay.
think you're special.
Yeah, well. So
Ed?
pay attention. Look out for that on our Facebook page. We'll be doing the giveaway for this month for a calendar, for a blood python calendar from Brittany Gobble, which will be cool.
That'll be cool.
I wonder if she has pictures of blood pythons after they go to the bathroom
James, why?
because it's impressive.
No.
It's very impressive.
You're not putting that in a calendar.
Could you imagine having a big blood python
They
in a
make-
tub and then it pees and you just like,
Calendars of dog shitting. What's the difference of a snake
Oh my
shitting
God,
and a
that
dog
is not
shitting?
a real
do they
thing.
really make dog shitting calendars?
Bullshit, because we got
Not
one.
bullshit, dog shit.
Yeah, it's dog shit.
Oh, okay.
It was a calendar that we got in a white elephant gift exchange a couple years ago. My
Is it
sister
real
would
dog
log on
shit or is it like fake dog shit?
No, it is the dog is literally squatting, taking a shit, and there's shit coming out of it or shit on the ground. Like it is a dog shitting calendar.
All right.
We are not hanging
We
that up
posted,
in
we
our
hung
house.
it in the bathroom.
All right,
At my
Ryan.
parents' house.
Ryan, you've got blood pythons. I need you to get me some footage, some pictures of blood pythons peeing and shitting, and we're gonna make a killing on
Oh,
calendars.
I don't know about that. That's I'd rather
I
not
can-
share that.
I
That's
can get some-
traumatic times.
I'll get some of my my big sulcatas taking a shit. That we can do that in there. That'd be a great one.
Big Mama takes some pretty impressive shit.
That's what you need, a reptile shit calendar. That's what I need. Anybody listening, please send us your best high quality reptile shit photos.
Why would you do that?
And we're gonna put out a reptile shit calendar.
Oh my God. The Reptile Gumbo shit
The Reptile
calendar.
Gumbo shit calendar. It's gonna be
just gonna
the
call
it's
it
gonna
It
be
Captain
cannot be
Keeping.
shit that you take.
yeah no it cannot be
It
no
cannot
human
be
shit.
human shit.
No human shit. If I see corn in it at all, it's disqualified.
Calendar for Joe.
Oh God.
I can't believe you didn't know that it was a thing, but 100%
God.
my sister-in-law got it, and we ended up hanging in the main bathroom at my parents' house. So for a year, that's what you looked
It's
at
not-
right in front of you when you
Look at that.
said
That's not as cool as our reptile shit. I'm serious. I'm going. If I get 12 good pictures of different reptile shits, I'm making a calendar.
We have a ton of
Dogs
snakes between the two
pooping.
of us.
Dogs pooping in beautiful places.
But the trick is you gotta
Yeah.
get someone. You gotta get someone a picture of the reptile shitting.
Well, so that's when you pick the snake that
Oh
you
no,
want
I want
and
this
put a
calendar.
camera in there.
Nature's cock shots.
Whoa, whoa,
This
Katie.
is- look,
I mean, I get this is not a family show, but
look.
what the fuck?
Great.
It's like it's a rock feature
That looks like a penis.
that looks like
Order it.
there's cactus.
That look like penises.
Hey, you don't have
Oh
a
my
calendar
God.
up.
This is hilarious. Who thought of these
And you
things?
thought my reptile shit idea was a bad idea. That's
Who thought of
This
these
is cock
things?
shaped nature.
my dad said no, your shit cannot be in the shape of reptile. It does not count. It's still human shit.
No human
Human,
feces.
no human feces.
There are like 9 different types of dog poop calendars available.
I'm very serious when I said it's out there.
Oh my God.
And now there's gonna be a reptile one. It's gonna be next year's Christmas stocking stuffer. Everybody's gonna
Oh,
want.
Here's one that's all cat balls.
Can we get one that's all,
now tell the rabbit.
can we get one that's all hemipenes? An all hemipene calendar?
Oh, we definitely have to work a little harder at that. one.
Because a big sulcata tortoise penis is
Oh,
It's impressive.
James, here's one. It's pooping animals, and there's a polar bear on the cover.
with the runs. Why has he got diarrhea? I know, Ryan. I'm so sorry. This has turned into a shit
I
show.
know. I was like, you guys are nuts.
So no, if it has nuts in it, it doesn't count. That's no, Rachel. No nuts.
Oh my God.
Ugh. Anyways, let's wrap this shit up.
This is on Etsy.
See, I'm telling you right now, we're making anybody. I need reptile shit calendar.
Order extra wise cameras.
Oh, Ryan, if people want to reach out to you and hopefully not talk to you about your snakes shitting, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
They can call me, message me, Facebook, email, whatever. All my information's out there. Pretty easy to find.
Darren says Ryan's never doing a podcast. No, Ryan's never doing our podcast again, Darren. That's no one else.
What,
is listening.
149 episodes? He could have done his research to know that we tend to fall off the wagon
There's no wagon.
and then like bounce
There's-
down the road a few miles.
There's no wagon. It's a landfill. This is,
I
Always
didn't.
good to laugh.
I haven't watched very many podcasts, so I
Sad.
didn't know what I was getting into.
I did start listening. So I tried to listen to a podcast today when I went to the gym. I was trying to listen to the new Morelia Python episode that came out because it was pretty good. It was I think it was Scott Borden, I think, was on it, and I can't remember the other person. But I found out I can't do the elliptical and listen to a podcast. I can't.
The rhythm isn't.
I can't listen to people talk while I'm trying. Like I need like fast paced music to get going.
Mhm.
So I listened to them while I did the machines, and then I was like, "Sorry guys, gotta play music." The soothing voices of Owen and Eric just don't get me through my 2 miles on the elliptical. It's just hearing them say "water" over and over again just doesn't do it for me. But so anyways, thanks for coming on. Real quick for us, if you want a cage, rack, any of that stuff, lsreptileracks.com. Since Robert's not here, .com. If you want to reach out for us, it is the Reptile Gumbo Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com. Hey, next week is our 150th episode. I say ours, my 150th episode. It's y'all's, you're like 10th, I don't know, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. was like, I've done at least 10.
I'll be here next week.
Oh, good.
It's the week after that I'm off.
I
Well,
think next.
congratulations and happy 150.
Thank you. I think next week is
I can hop on
Owen,
anytime you
actually.
need me to, so y'all just let me know.
There you go.
So I think next week we're having I don't want to lie because I may lie, but no, next week we're having Owen McIntyre on,
Well, there you go.
and I'm gonna make fun of him saying, well, you know what? Ooh, last time we had him on was like episode like 5 or something,
Okay.
and we played is it a ball python or not?
Yeah, I remember that.
I think I might bring that game back for Owen.
There you go.
So we just named random morphs, and if some of them were fake morphs and some of them were real, it was a fun game. So maybe play that with Owen. Maybe we'll bring it back. So listen to us next week. I will have the stuff up for our giveaway for the calendar. I think that's it. Why are you looking at me weird like that?
I don't know.
Okay, just checking. Again, Ryan, thanks. Hang out. Everybody else, we will see you next week. And good night.
Good night.
Take care.